Hey guys, tonight we dive into a moonlit garden where shadows hold more than secrets. They cradle centuries of Zen wisdom. Imagine yourself tiptoeing through ancient Kyoto as monks transform stone into stories. You follow their whispers beneath a silver moon, feeling slightly guilty about your last gardening attempt involving an unlucky cactus. Spoiler alert, you probably won't survive this one either. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop where you're tuning in from and what time it is there. Night owl or early bird, now dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Beneath a shimmering moonlight, you find the Kyoto garden monks already at work. Their hands, weathered by seasons, move with the precision of those who have listened to stones speak through centuries. Monks, it turns out, invented an early form of garden yoga. Yes, really, while historians debate whether they actually used this for espionage training. Let's lean into the more poetic angle tonight. You notice an old monk, perhaps 90 if he's a day. His eyes crease with the weight of lifetimes he's silently held. The silver glow frames his silhouette as he steps forward, gesturing to an arrangement of stones, each meticulously placed to guide your breath. Here, each stone symbolizes a step in the garden's timeless dance. Moonlight reveals the garden's layered whispers. A stone the size of 2 fists rests, balanced on softer gravel, and you realize you've been holding your own breath. You release it slowly, syncopating with the night. This art, it started as a form of meditation centuries ago, when monks wanted a way to carry quiet into the mind's eye. The monks use white pebbles that seem to catch the moonlight, turning each tiny rock into a spotlight. Some believe these pebbles are the garden's equivalent of ancient LED lights, the monks' version of upcycling celestial illumination. Historians still argue whether this was their actual practice, or if they just wanted to avoid stumbling into bamboo thickets at night. As you move closer, you hear the rustle of leaves. The monks say these trees once spoke in dialects now forgotten. Imagine a tree whose rustle translates to an ancient version of don't forget to rake properly, and you're halfway there. But here, you whisper to the stones instead, feeling each rough surface hum under fingers. Experts think the placement signifies an ancient celestial map, but some fringe theorists suggest it's a coded message for time travelers who visit the garden during a full moon. While historians ponder over stone diaries, you simply follow the curve of one moss-covered path, noticing how a smaller rock is nestled beneath a larger one. This, they whisper, is how weight and wisdom settle. Your feet sink gently into moistened moss as a soft night breeze rolls through. Monks have walked these same paths for a millennium, their presence barely making ripples in time. That's why there's a saying among locals: Kyoto's garden stones have more stories than the city walls. Okay, They probably just say that to get tourists to buy more postcards. One old stone catches your eye, the center of this lunar arrangement. Stories tell of how a monk once meditated for 48 days until a butterfly laid eggs on his shoulder, only to leave behind a perfect array of miniature chrysalises after hatching. Yes, real Disney magic, sans talking raccoons. But we digress. The monks today still follow olden protocols, each movement precise, deliberate. Their rituals trace back to the Kamakura period, where stones became words they dared not speak. Historians still argue whether this practice came before European knot gardens, but tonight we let them argue alone. Each placement follows the lunar calendar phases. You notice gaps where moonlight pools through, shadows stretching along stone curves in patterns that only reveal themselves when you squint your eyes. It's like that trick you use when reading tiny font on medicine bottles, except this squint holds life's secrets. You might miss the next stone entirely without it. Between the arrangements, you pause, letting night's coolness brush your cheeks. The monks are quiet, almost like they've become extensions of their tools. One myth holds they could communicate with crickets during summer arrangements. Don't worry, you won't master that tonight. You step closer to a particularly elegant arrangement. The monks explain how this shape, resembling a phoenix rising from stones, was believed to call back old spirits for guidance. Of course, some skeptics claim it was just monks with really good taste in abstract shapes. Historians also ponder whether these spirits included garden gnomes. Clearly, someone's been watching too many European imports. The stone under your touch feels cool yet solid, almost as if it's whispering back. Each rock placement aligns with the moon's cycles and the earth's subtle shifts. This isn't just a garden, it's a symphony. Notes play out in each pebble, with pauses and crescendos echoing through centuries. You wouldn't understand it if you weren't here beneath this very moon. You look up, realizing you've become part of this living fresco. Your thoughts flow into the arrangements, each mental breath melding with the stone's whispers. This garden is more than stones. It's a bridge between realms, a path where you too can plant feet. Another monk steps quietly to one side, adjusting a small, almost imperceptible stone. Monks of yore used to trade their stone arrangements like Pokemon cards. Well, okay, probably not. But if they did, that small stone might be their equivalent of a powerful, rare card. And here, every rock tells its own journey. Another legend, how the monks once aligned stones using nothing but constellations and intuition. No GPS, no drones surveying above, just faith and the night sky. And here you were, using your phone's flashlight to find snacks in the fridge. Historians still argue whether this alignment was truly celestial-based or just really good old guesswork. As light from the moon washes over your shoulders, you realize every stone placed here has a heartbeat. It's faint, but if you listen, you'll feel the rhythmic drum of Kyoto's ancient wisdom. And who knows, maybe tonight's arrangement, right here under your fingers, whispers stories that'll be told 1,000 years from now. Maybe even without tourist postcards. So, let that last stone's placement linger with you. Each crevice, each careful inch, holds not just stone, but stories of monks who listened to whispers more subtle than moonlight itself. This garden breathes, pulses, and waits. You too are invited to listen to place, and maybe, just maybe, to stay a while longer. And somewhere in the night, a monk adjusts one last stone, and you feel the hum, the endless dance of balance and beauty. Sleep felt so close as the sky's dark blanket wrapped you tighter, whispering ancient truths through the stone and moon's gentle touch. And as you closed your eyes, you're surrounded by stones that once were stories, now your dreams. Dawn paints the Kyoto garden in hues of soft gold and pearly mist. You find yourself here after a long night, perhaps curled up under the same silver moon that kissed these stones through the hours. The air is cool, crisp, against your bare feet, tracing the gravel's uneven path. First light barely touches the dewy moss when monks silently reappear. Their robes are the color of faded ochre, worn with the simplicity of true elegance. In their olden hands, wisdom passed down through generations unfurls, not in verbose lessons, but through the art of deliberate stillness. Your gaze follows a weathered finger stroking a granite stone, worn smooth by seasons and sacred intention. Historians still argue whether Zen gardens originated from a need for meditation space, or as metaphors for life's impermanence. Did those first monks plant tiny mountains in the soil only to reflect their own small place in the world's relentless canvas? Maybe it was neither. Did they simply want something old-fashioned and beautiful, just like that vintage lava lamp your ex thought was trendy? Breathe softer, as if you might inhale the very rhythm of what their hands craft. Experts believe Kyoto's garden traditions date back to the Heian period, a time when ink and rice paper were prized for painting landscapes that rival nature's own hand. That means these monks are connecting you to something that predates your high school history teacher by a millennium. You observe fingers now shaping miniature dunes in trays of fine sand. A quirky secret: there's a fringe art historian out there arguing that these raked patterns predict stock market trends. Because why not? But here, in this dawn's delicate embrace, such cynicism fades. The monks rake not for corporate fortune, but to cultivate clarity of intent. Each line serves as a tactile meditation. Each brush of bamboo through silica whispers the ancient language of purpose. This isn't about efficiency. Historians still debate whether these gardens even evolved from earlier religious sites, or purely as contemplative spaces. Yet here, standing amidst rock formations and raked gravel, it feels like efficiency's opposite. Here exists the luxury of purpose, found in deliberate slowness. Your modern senses, accustomed to buzzing notifications and screens glowing at every blink. Stand humbled before this gentle, practiced motion. Let your gaze fall to the larger stones, now kissed by morning's growing light. Have you ever seen how shadows seem to stretch into eternity as day begins? Here in Kyoto, those shadows don't just mark time, they become characters in a narrative only visible at this precise hour. Monks transition to larger stones. There's a hushed finality to their movements. You recall a particularly whimsical historian suggesting that every misplaced garden rock secretly represents a different existential crisis. Maybe the lopsided one there is your, should I take that third helping or pretend I'm already full moment. But perhaps it's more. Here in the heart of a sacred garden, each rock also embodies stillness amid impermanence. Every placement feels like breathing, a gentle inhale of space between stones and an exhale when positioning them. An exercise not in shaping landscapes, but in molding the mind's own restless tendencies. Listen as monks' feet trace gravel with the kind of precision only achieved over lifetimes. You're struck by how their simplicity evokes memories you've suppressed. That old toy truck you used to roll through the sandbox, the same attention to spacing governs these monastic hands. Only now, the stakes are peace itself. As dawn's quietude embraces you, any remnant of night fades into the garden's rhythmic pulse. Stone by stone, you're being invited deeper into the silence between breaths and between moments. The next step unfolds before you. You are perhaps unintentionally, but no less meaningfully, becoming part of the story. Those dawn-kissed rocks whisper, there is, after all, something profoundly timeless about standing where monks have carved living legacies with nothing but stones, sweat, patience, and maybe even a sense of humor about overcooked ramen noodles left out in the midday sun. Sunlight continues its ascent, but the monks carry its steady rhythm within them. They prepare to greet the world with arrangements that say far more than any 1,000 words could ever capture. With each rock placed, each dune raked, the boundary between history and living breath blurs into a single sacred act, the making of the eternal in the ordinary. Your heart beats quietly against the pulse of this ancient practice. You too, in some small way, are becoming part of its whispered song. And that's what echoes softly amidst these timeless Zen rock arrangements. Wind weaves its way through aged bamboo stalks, creating melodies only nature knows. Each rustle seems to guide the monk's rhythmic hand movements, as if there's some ancient symphony playing just beneath the surface of this stillness. Experts think Zen gardens might have started as windbreaks for delicate tea plants, but the real magic happens when those breezes shape arrangements in ways mere mortals can't control. Historians still argue whether early monks considered these stone symphonies as divine compositions played through earth and wind. Watch as fingers dance along the cool pebbles bordering a miniature mountain range. Did Did you know that some fringe theorists claim Japanese monks used garden stones to send telepathic memos to their colleagues? Picture a monk in a robe thinking, more moss, less sand, Kenji, while adjusting a rock formation, the ancient equivalent of sticky notes, perhaps. Here, though, the only message is the one silently spreading from rock to gravel to your open, waiting mind. With each breeze, the monk's movements seem to mirror season's slow waltz. You remember reading that Kyoto's gardens originally mirrored the layout of ancient imperial palaces, where stones represented obstacles for the emperor's path. Perhaps then, each stone's placement was a negotiation with fate, a ritual against life's inevitable storms. Did monks whisper incantations while planting each rock, seeking favor from the wind itself? Well, if that's true, you should totally see that old monk over there. His rocks don't look all that favorable right now. Breathe in deeper, letting your chest rise to meet the cadence of their hands. Here in Kyoto, time moves so differently, it might just be sunning itself on a nearby stone. You're reminded that some rock arrangements are said to be living maps of the monks' inner landscapes. A jagged stone, perched precariously, could be their existential dread about that one math test moment, and those neatly raked ridges, victory over ramen night, burned the entire kitchen crises. The garden's rhythm shifts subtly as another stone finds its place. These same hands, you realize, are echoing traditions as old as Japan's imperial court. Did you know some historians posit that Kyoto garden designs were used to train ancient strategists, warriors, whose lives depended on reading natural formations? If that's true, maybe these stones once whispered war plans between pauses. And then you glance at that one rock, teetering at the edge of its miniature precipice. Were those the plans that didn't go so well? As morning stretches into a yawning midpoint, the air thrums with the gentle pulse of earth and effort. The monks work with a quiet finality that seems to settle around your own heartbeat. You notice how the stone placements follow such purposeful meanderings that a novice might think each stone has its own soul. And maybe, in this sacred place, they do. Historians still question whether early garden arrangements were spiritual maps. Was each stone a waypoint, an anchor for monks traversing inner storms? There, the gentle shift of shadows reveals an entirely new world cast into the gravel. In this light, every rock becomes a mirror, reflecting not just the monk's meticulous craft, but the eons of earth their efforts echo. You can almost hear whispers of ages past, as each placement seems to anchor itself deeper, not just into the soil, but into the collective history of all who have stood before it. Yet, with every careful adjustment, the garden maintains its deceptive simplicity, as if any complexity is merely the observer's own overzealous mind trying to outrace the flow of time. Here, the arrangement is less about the garden's design and more the quietude it evokes, a symphony held in the breath between motions. The stones rest in stillness, and through your presence, invite you deeper into their shared whisper. The wind circles back around, carrying with it the faintest hint of incense. And maybe, just maybe, the faint echo of monks' laughter from a century past. Each breath here now feels like a step into their shared legacy. And as you settle into the stone-kissed silence, you realize this ancient cadence isn't just enduring, it's inviting you to join in a rhythm that transcends even time itself. Earth's whisper rises with each stone set into the garden's tapestry. These arrangements, you might wonder, weren't just spiritual retreats, but had practical roots too. Some claim Kyoto's rock gardens once mapped out irrigation patterns for ancient rice paddies. No wonder the monks keep glancing toward that slightly tilted rock at the edge. History still debates whether stones first represented spiritual trials or agricultural challenges. Perhaps, in aligning these miniature mountain ranges, the monks' ancestors learned to harness the season's ebb and flow. You catch that wry smile from a monk as they shift another stone. Did anyone really think the emperor understood that olden rainwater system? Breathe deeper as you watch the monks. There's something mesmerizing about the way their hands communicate silently with nature. Did you know some ancient texts suggested garden stones were once memory amplifiers? Monks would trace paths with their fingers to recall the year's harvest patterns. Who needs digital reminders when your memory's etched in gravel? The rhythm picks up ever so slightly. Seasons agree with each new placement. Earth's cadence resonates through fingertips and into soul. Now imagine those same routines in spring, when cherry blossoms would have blanketed every curve like nature's confetti. Did they dance on pebbles back then, too? Historians still argue whether the stones were blessed to enhance the soil's fertility. Each placement whispers an olden truth. Life doesn't pause, it flows. You peer closer at a perfectly balanced trio of stones. Were those strategic formations for some medieval warlord, or merely the monk's way of beating boredom between chanting sessions? You chuckle softly. Perhaps they're both. Here, even the smallest adjustments echo through centuries. The monk's hands blend tradition with nature's immediate pulse. They say some stones are older than writing itself, having traveled through countless arrangements. Maybe their worn edges carry the secret recipes for miso soup. The air thickens with layered history. You glance at the garden's far corner, where a rock formation seems incomplete. Were these stones set during an eclipse? Some scholars argue the original gardens were celestial maps guiding the monks' meditations. Others say the eclipse just meant someone dozed off mid-placement. Watch how the monks' hands shape the earth, carving stories into the soil. Here, where monks cultivate patience, you realize these gardens are both the beginning and the end of countless traditions. The sun dips, casting elongated shadows, and you sense this rhythm of nature isn't just seen, it's felt deep in the marrow of those who tend it. As the wind rustles, The stones breathe lessons learned over generations. You think about those first Zen masters who touched these same pebbles and see the echoes of their teachings in every careful choice. Historians may still debate the primary purpose of stone gardens, but here, in Kyoto, the answers feel written in the sand. You find yourself tracing bare feet through the garden's gravel pathways, seeking balance in simplicity. A light chuckle escapes you, who knew the secret to Zen might just be found shuffling between stones and sand. Here, every footstep feels purposeful, grounding the soul to earth's embrace. Less truly is more, as the monks would say, but back then, they probably didn't have a million Instagram filters to complicate things. Did you know? In the 1300s, Kyoto monks used rock arrangements to test disciples' focus and attention to detail. That chipped pebble over there might have once decided a monk's enlightenment potential. You picture a young acolyte nervously shifting that same rock, thinking, "Please, universe, let this be the right angle." The simplicity wasn't just aesthetic, it was a psychological strategy, stripping away everything but intention. And let's be honest, the zen of a minimalist lifestyle isn't half bad. Even if yours involves choosing between 5 types of avocado toast, you pause before an arrangement where 2 stones balance against a larger one, a visual haiku in stone. Legend suggests during the Kamakura period, these formations were believed to amplify prayers sent heavenward. Experts argue whether this notion is fact or folklore. Perhaps both the spiritual and the physical always intertwine here. A gentle smile spreads as you nudge a pebble slightly, half expecting a lightning bolt of wisdom to strike. Spoiler, it doesn't. Still, in this sacred dance between earth and intent, maybe the waiting itself is the teaching. Historians still argue whether Kyoto's rock gardens influenced ancient tea ceremonies. Some claim monks placed stones to outline ideal tea-serving positions, blending the mundane into the spiritual. Ever had tea that made you transcend earthly woes? Maybe they were onto something, watching monks move so deliberately. You think about those quiet afternoons where the act of tea preparation, the slowness itself, transforms a routine into ritual. Here, silence speaks its loudest when least expected. The monks' footsteps are as much a part of the narrative as the stones they move. This garden whispers, every shift, every step a testament to the elegant discipline of restraint. It's like their mantra is, the point of all this is that there isn't one. Simplicity's a journey, patience its true guide. A pebble catches the light, drawing your attention to a formation suggesting waves. Did you know Japanese gardens often incorporated maritime elements as symbols of purity and renewal? Each ripple in stone mimics the tides they can't touch directly. Maybe this garden's a sailor's dream of home, or a monk's vision of distant shores, each stone a world away. You recall that old saying about a journey of 1,000 miles, starting with a single step, or in this case, a single stone. You're pulled back by the monk's serene concentration. This art form celebrates absence as much as presence. The gaps between stones, spaces filled with possibility. A monk's fingers dance lightly, reshaping spaces where the mind can wander. Less is, quite literally, more, and here lies an ancient truth we moderns often overlook amid digital clutter. Perhaps this garden is a lesson in mental minimalism, curating what remains unseen, uncluttered by excess. Stones here aren't just arranged, they converse silently across voids. Each one tells stories of time, tides, trials. You ponder whether it's the placement or the pause in placement that matters more. Probably both. Remember that story about how monks believed moving rocks brought their prayers closer. Maybe it's not so different from the way we modern folks write hopes and notes now. Okay, fine. Just me pinning memes to my idea board. Ah, how the centuries blend. You think back to gardens you've seen, but none quite like this. A few pebbles, strategically placed, hold the essence of worlds, whole seasons captured in stillness. Each arrangement becomes a meditative invitation. Step inside, leave thoughts you no longer want to carry. As your hands brush the gravel, you suspect that every simple act is itself an echo, a whisper in the language of timeless tradition. Walking among these stones, you're struck by how the monks find wisdom not in vastness, but in restraint. Theirs is a path carved through minimalism, each intentional gesture echoing across centuries. You marvel at how those who came before carved beauty out of less. The real artistry here lies in what remains unsaid, the spaces filled with quiet contemplation. The monks seem to float just above the gravel, movements synchronized with centuries of practice. Their bare feet glide, almost reverent, seeking balance in these arrangements, as if each stone holds a syllable of ancient scripture. Balance is key, of course, in the arrangement of pebbles, in the meditation of steps. Perhaps those olden monks had balance down pat, unlike those modern-day tourists who trip over everything except the most glaringly obvious obstacles. The sun filters between branches, casting patterns across the gravel, a reminder of the world beyond these stones. And yet here, in this enclosed sanctuary, it's simplicity itself that speaks loudest. Nature's brush paints these formations, and every gap between stones becomes narrative filled with possibility. You remember reading somewhere that the Japanese concept of ma, the space between, is considered crucial in aesthetics. Maybe this entire garden is one grand exploration of the beauty residing in those in-between moments. You notice a chip in a stone, worn by time and touch. Does every scar here have history? You wonder. Perhaps this one marks where the chief monk accidentally tripped during a particularly deep meditative state, leading to weeks of teasing from the youngest novices. Or, on a more serious note, maybe it's a testament to nature's persistence, the element enduring what monks' hands crafted. Historians debate whether some arrangements are actually intentional maps for cosmic meditation. Imagine needing a geological GPS for your spiritual journey. Every placement whispers an invitation to pause, to breathe, to engage, not just with the present moment, but with centuries past. Monks once believed the earth itself held memories, stories inscribed by those who'd come before. Maybe that's why they place stones with such reverence. You chuckle softly. Perhaps their reverence is the real magic here, not those mystical stories carved in gravel after all. Who needs digital detox vacations when you can go analog straight into the dirt? Bare feet trace new paths, each step another dialogue with the earth. In this serene landscape, you realize true elegance might simply be the careful act of stepping lightly in life, as well as on this ancient ground. A monk's hands adjust a rock slightly. You can almost hear the whisper of the past echoing through each stone, each grain, as this timeless practice continues. Who said minimalism isn't profound? Every silence here speaks volumes. Perhaps in the simplicity of these stones lies the answer to both vast and minute ponderings of existence. You glance around, observing how each formation tells not just a story, but a state of being. The gaps between rocks pulse with living breaths of the earth, every space a world of contemplation. This is meditation made tangible, a garden where the unspoken carries as much weight as what's set in stone. As sun dips below the horizon, shadows stretch, and the gravel cools beneath your feet. Here in Kyoto, the essence of Zen endures not in grand architecture, but in the quiet dignity of a stone placed just so. As the monks' hands continue their work, you marvel at how such simplicity brings the deepest clarity. The evening beckons, and with it, the garden's timeless message of balance, presence, both within and without. So here, amid pebbles and paths, you find not just reflection, but revelation. Night deepens as monks conclude their twilight arrangements, yet their work never truly ends. Shadows stretch infinitely, carrying whispers from generations past into the enveloping darkness. Silhouettes of ancient trees stand sentinel beside the path, their gnarled branches dancing with fireflies, nature's living lanterns. Have you ever wondered why Japanese gardens favor moonlit nights? Historians believe the silver glow was once used to extend meditation practices long after sunset. Some say ancient monks thought moonlight revealed hidden garden secrets visible only in darkness. A fringe idea that still stirs the imagination. How fitting, then, that these nocturnal landscapes became playgrounds for both spirituality and curiosity. It's hard to say whether those old monks practiced night gardening for practical purposes or mystical explorations. Historians still argue whether moonlight was their guiding light, or if stars were more important in cosmic navigation. Maybe they knew that the best lessons come when shadows fall long and deep, revealing paths obscured by daytime's bright distractions. You find yourself wondering about the stones, each one a testament to balance, their edges softened by centuries of contemplation. Night's canvas envelops the garden, a blanket of serenity that feels like an embrace of the olden world. How timeless are these echoes of Zen? They speak not only of simplicity, but of patience written across generations. Did you know some believe Kyoto monks chose specific rock formations to mimic the constellations above? According to a quirky theory, rocks would align perfectly during certain solstices, casting shadows that mirrored celestial alignments. Perhaps those ancient monks were early astronomers, gazing skyward as they anchored their spiritual truths in earthly stone. Maybe that's why the moonlight seems to caress each arrangement now, each pebble a star cast down from the heavens. Even in stillness, the garden speaks its language, a slow-forming mantra carried in the night's cool embrace. You feel this silent symphony of time, earth, and stone working its way through you, grounding wandering thoughts in meditative stillness. As the hours deepen, monks continue their movements, fluid yet deliberate. Under the silver glow, each shadow stretches like a bridge to antiquity, silhouettes forming a quiet ballet between past and present. Did you ever think moonlight could have texture? A cool, almost tangible touch that turns each rock into an old friend waiting to share secrets. Some scholars think these nocturnal activities allowed monks to experience the fluidity of meditation without the distractions of the day. Others debate whether these late-night rituals were actually communal tests where apprentices had to recreate entire arrangements from memory. Historians argue whether moonlit nights sharpened their skills, or if those stories are just romantic notions. But the possibility fills these stones with an almost whispering life of their own. Breaths soften as night's tranquility deepens. Here, the crunch of gravel seems hallowed, every footstep resonating as a prayer. You think back to the tales of monks who would walk blindfolded through these gardens, navigating purely by feeling and instinct, a reminder that even now, these paths retain an unwritten map etched in history and night's mystery. The monk's silent reverence paints vivid pictures in the half-dark. A dance of shadows becomes a lesson in impermanence, each silhouette a momentary pause in a journey that never truly ends. Night's gentle rhythms remind you these stones aren't just physical, they're markers of time, thought, and ephemeral beauty. In this nocturnal refuge, you feel the ancients' presence, their whispers carried on the evening's cool breath. Shadows stretch across the gravel, etching patterns more complex than any digital screen could replicate. Maybe there is magic here, in what remains unseen and unheard, layers of history resting softly within these stone arrangements. You pause, feeling the garden's pulse, night's rhythm merging seamlessly with the olden cadence of monk and stone. An ancient truth breathes beside you. The deeper the silence, the louder it whispers. And in these moon-touched moments, those whispers carry the entire universe's secrets. In this tranquil night, You sense the stone's enduring legacy, how balance survives even the fiercest storm of time. This garden under moonlight reveals lessons the daylight hours hide. Shadows create a canvas where infinite possibilities blend history, spirit, and night's embrace. As you leave the garden, your senses linger on silence stretched into infinity. Night's cool breath and the moon's soft glow anchor fleeting thoughts, transforming each step into a contemplative dance with time itself. Here, amid pebbles and paths, you discover the silent strength of age-old whispers, cradled by the eternal cycle of night and day. These stones, bathed in lunar clarity, remain silent guides, reminding you that sometimes the most profound truths echo in the spaces between. Each shadow, each stone, each pause, these tell the story of a garden where silence itself becomes the most eloquent testament to balance and peace. You drift along the stone path, feeling the night wrap around your senses. It's moments like these, when stillness takes over, that you truly understand why Japanese gardens embrace the night. Shadows and moonlight reveal what sunlight hides. It's said that during the Muromachi period, moon viewing became an essential part of garden design, a fact that historians agree shaped much of Japan's cultural landscapes. But have you heard that some monks believed certain stones could emit a gentle glow after being bathed in full moonlight? Sounds more like a fireside tale than a garden map, doesn't it? Some say the real purpose of these nocturnal arrangements runs deeper, that they're a form of meditation in motion. Imagine each stone placed under moonlight, reflecting the quiet ballet of both inner peace and the cosmos itself. Historians still argue whether these rituals were more about personal enlightenment or community bonding. The debate fuels the night's mystery further, doesn't it? You lean into the air's cool caress as monks continue their silent, gentle adjustments, every movement's filled with purpose, every hesitation a story. Notice how the moon accentuates each pebble, casting it in an almost ethereal glow. Have you ever thought about how the moon's phases must have been an early calendar for arranging these meditative landscapes? Full moons meant brighter nights and perhaps more intricate, detailed work. The monks, they've been doing this for centuries. You know, it's like a dance, one that blends grace with unwavering focus. Here, in the quiet, you almost sense their ancient whispers carried by the wind, a mix of guidance and gentle correction. Speaking of gentle, did you ever hear that some monks use moonlight to charge their stones with positive energy? You read that right. They believe full moon nights can imbue stones with healing properties. Makes you wonder about the quirkier, mystical threads woven into history. Under the night sky, the rocks seem to breathe. Each stone placement appears to pulse with ancient knowledge. You ponder the monks, their back and forth movements blending tradition with innovation. It's fascinating because historians have yet to fully agree on whether these methods have varied dramatically over centuries or remained miraculously consistent. The debates go on. Perhaps that's the beauty of history's mystery. You think back to sunlit afternoons spent reading about Zen gardens. But there's something more profound revealed under moonlight, isn't there? The way shadows dance across gravel seems almost deliberate, like the gardens sharing secrets only with the truly patient. Have you ever wondered why Kyoto monks often select stones that reflect light in specific patterns? There's a theory, a quirky one at that these stones were carefully chosen to align with the positions of celestial bodies, turning the garden into a sprawling night sky map. Breathe in the quiet. With every crunch of gravel, your senses sharpen. Here, night holds its own kind of rhythm, a meditation you can feel in your bones. Some researchers argue that moonlit arrangements were primarily educational, while others believe they serve more as communal, almost ceremonial events. The argument rages on. Perhaps you'll let the monk's own shadows guide your thoughts tonight. Each pebble stands still now, yet they hold stories of constant movement. Time feels both suspended and urgent. You smile at the knowledge that even in stillness, so much remains in motion. Here, every moonbeam is a spotlight, every stone a word in an endless, nocturnal poem. What more can the night reveal, you wonder? Only time and the monk's patient whispers will tell. You find yourself at the heart of a living painting, where the monk's fingertips glide across the surface like artists awakening forgotten dreams. Here, each pebble is a brushstroke, each placement a note in the symphony of tranquility. As dawn begins to hint at the eastern sky, the subtle hues of first light dance across the arrangement. You notice the textures, softness where moss kisses stone, smoothness where rainwater has worn edges down. Some believe that the stone's textures absorb the memories of water's passage, although most scholars remain skeptical. Historians still argue whether this texture-focused approach influences the monk's choices today, or if it's merely a remnant of ancient, anecdotal beliefs. The gentle whispers of morning breezes seem to amplify the monk's meticulous touches. Every pebble, each tiny boulder, fits into an unfolding narrative of balance and harmony. Have you ever considered that the act of placing these stones mimics the way ancient Japanese mapmakers used mountains and rivers to guide travelers? Perhaps there's more to the resemblance than first meets the eye. Watch as a monk adjusts a small, weathered stone. You see the care in each movement, the way they consider the curvature of one side compared to another, the way dew still clings to a surface recently caressed. Experts think that these meticulous placements might have once served as educational tools, teaching geometry and proportion. Others, however, believe they hold deeper philosophical lessons, and historians have yet to reach a consensus. The debate carries on quietly, like a murmur just beyond the edges of hearing. As you lean in closer, you catch the scent of pine mingling with early morning freshness. The rocks, now shimmering in their dew-kissed state, seem to tell stories of countless nights and days under the monk's careful watch. Remember that tale about how moonlight can charge stones? Well, some say morning dew acts as another layer of this mystical recharge, offering rejuvenation in the form of Earth's purest essence. Maybe there's a hint of poetic truth to olden traditions after all. Your senses sharpen with each step along the raked gravel paths. Notice how the stones catch the soft morning light, almost as though they're absorbing it. The quiet here can be deceptive. You might feel as though the monks are simply arranging rocks, but there's a deeper magic at work. Did you know that during the Edo-period, Kyoto's monks considered each stone placement akin to ink strokes on rice paper, each rock, each grain of sand, part of an elaborate calligraphy of nature? The thought, rather intriguing if you ask me. A soft scuff of sandal along gravel pulls you back. The monk's hands move with a practiced rhythm, every now and then pausing, as if listening to some unheard melody. Historians still argue whether Zen rock arrangements originated as purely meditative practices or evolved from older Shinto beliefs about sacred stones, such mysteries hidden in plain sight, like shadows stretching before the sun fully rises. As you step deeper into the garden, you hear the delicate song of a distant bell. Each chime feels like a punctuation, marking the continuity of movement and stillness. The way stones rest together creates an ever-changing mosaic of stability and impermanence. You can't help but think how centuries of rain and sunlight have shifted them, ever so subtly. But historians still debate the extent to which environmental changes have influenced these ancient arrangements, endless cycles of nature, ever debating their secrets. Breathe in the serenity of this early hour. Each pebble now feels imbued with meaning. Each stone seems to whisper stories from ages past. You remember that unusual notion about stones aligning with celestial bodies? Well, in the morning light, the stone's placement hints at something more than patterns of the night sky. They suggest pathways on Earth, perhaps a labyrinth meant to be navigated by those willing to look beyond mere aesthetics. And here, within these timeless boundaries, you realize the monk's fingertips act as nature's own brush. Every grain of sand, every tiny stone is but a canvas. In this fluid stillness, every morning dew-drenched breeze whispers the garden's eternal wisdom. Each moment, caught in the monk's gentle shifts, reveals anew that balance is the true masterpiece crafted between earth and sky. You understand now, as you witness their careful art, that the rhythm of these placements is rooted deep in centuries of patient wisdom. Time, you realize, is both a companion and a silent observer here. Each stone, a testament, each touch, a dialogue with the whispers of the morning. It's as if the monks, the stones, the light itself, are all breathing in synced harmony. What unfolds in this quiet ballet is nothing short of ancient poetry, alive, breathing, and entirely timeless. You reach the river's edge, where stones gleam with smoothness only water can bestow. They ripple with stories held by currents that once cradled their forms. Gently, you watch as monks select these polished treasures, each one holding echoes of journeys from mountain streams to tranquil pools. The river, you realize, is both a sculptor and a storyteller in this landscape of Zen. Historians still argue whether early river stones served mainly practical or symbolic purposes. For centuries, these stones have been more than silent relics. They've been conduits of meditation, whispered wisdom through their textured tailies. Some monks believe these stones carried prayers downstream, a sort of spiritual currency flowing into the divine. That idea might sound poetic, but did you know it's rooted in both Shinto and Buddhist traditions? Waters have long been considered purifiers, but carrying prayers. Now that's a fringe gem. Here, you brush your fingertips across a pebble, its surface cool and inviting. It feels like history itself, smoothed by nature's own hand over eons. Legend hints these stones might once have been used for divination, their ripple patterns in sand or water telling fortunes. Can you just picture it? An ancient monk squinting at pebble riddles cast into the river, divining next season's crops or the emperor's luck. Maybe it's all a romantic stretch, but it's fun to imagine. The monks work the river stones with an artist's eye, and you can't help but notice how they reflect ancient trade routes. Centuries-old paths carved their tailies into these very waters, transporting goods, ideas, and stories of old. Historians contend that these stones remind us of Kyoto's bustling waterways, a contrast to today's serene scenes. Those currents once saw merchants' boats and scholars' journeys. Oh, the stories carried then, and here you are, holding stones that might have witnessed entire lives unfold. Look closely at a particular stone, smooth as a whisper and subtly striped, like nature's own marble. It lands between two others with a decisiveness that makes the world pause. It's a gesture so tender and precise that you can practically hear the sigh of contentment passing through the earth itself. How intriguing that the oldest gardens used river stones, not only for beauty, but for balance, mimicking life's delicate equilibrium. Talk about a deep message hidden in plain sight. A gentle splash further upstream pulls you from your musings. A single ripple stretches, disrupting the still reflection of a willow. You notice how the stones placed here seem anchored by an unspoken wisdom, as though they know their place in the world's rhythm. Did you ever hear the saying that every stone has a shadow story? It's one of those quirky monk musings, like the placement here represents grounding amid life's turbulent currents. Well aware of life's flow, aren't they? Historians still grapple with whether ancient Zen gardens served as actual navigational aids or purely meditative mazes. Some swear these stones mapped ancient trade paths, while others believe they charted sacred pilgrimage routes. What's certain is that each stone placed here draws you deeper into reflection, guiding both mind and spirit. Like the gentlest coach, or perhaps an old friend reminding you of forgotten truths, you watch a monk position a slender stone, curved by nature's patient hand, into a gap that seems to breathe a collective sigh. It's astonishing how just one stone can shift the energy in this quiet sanctuary. It's said, only half in jest among garden lore, that monks once tested for spiritual enlightenment with stone placement. If the garden hummed with balance after their work, well, that was a good sign, maybe a poetic way to remember those quiet trials. Every so often, the wind shifts, carrying soft murmurs from nearby bamboo groves. Amidst the rustle, you swear you hear stories woven into stone arrangements across decades. It's as if each placement echoes through time, resonating with ancient whispers and contemporary breaths alike. Intriguingly, historians still debate the spiritual significance of stone shapes. Are rounded stones more akin to Buddhist teachings on impermanence, or do they symbolize Earth's eternal cycles? There's a mischievous glint in your eye. Did you know that some Zen monks claimed river stones carried fortunes for whomever found them? They used to say certain stones were dream pebbles, thought to bring lucid dreams. Imagine slipping one beneath your pillow and awakening to vivid, moonlit journeys. Maybe those monks knew something mystics never disclosed. Gently, a monk settles a pair of stones, one smooth and one etched with veins of minerals, forming a duality that's almost poetic. It's breathtakingly simple yet infinitely profound, like a riddle waiting to be unraveled. Can't help but chuckle at how river stones, with their unassuming presence, carry the weight of such rich mythology and philosophy. And as you wander, you stumble upon a particularly ancient stone, cracked but resilient. Remember that odd belief about stones absorbing their surroundings' energy. Well, this one feels almost charged, as if it remembers the river's roar, the splash of fish, and the secrets it carried downstream. Maybe, just maybe, that old tale held a grain of poetic truth. As you lean close to inspect its markings, you think of how Kyoto's gardens have served as living museums. From shoguns' retreats to poets' havens, they reflect humanity's eternal quest for balance. And here you are, amid whispers of ancient Zen, tracing stories written not in ink, but in Earth's simplest forms. Here, beside these river stones, you feel the passage of countless seasons. Stones that once tumbled through mountain runoffs now settle into a mosaic of serenity, and not without purpose. Each one, as the monks likely know, carries a fragment of the world's vast continuum. It's no wonder why historians argue fervently about their deeper roles. The stones themselves seem to smile at the secrets they've witnessed. Breathe in the cool, damp air, it's rife with possibility. Let the stone's silent teachings guide you. Even the most unassuming pebble has journeyed far, much like the seekers who once followed these riverbanks to enlightenment. And as twilight begins to deepen, you realize In the monks' delicate dance with river stones, an entire world is both unveiled and immortalized. Beneath moonlight or first light, these unassuming stones hold myriad worlds in their smooth, quiet embrace. You understand these stones are more than mere elements of decoration. Every nuanced curve and weathered edge narrates the river's timeless journey, much like how we, too, journey through life's currents. The monks, custodians of patience, transform these simple stones into profound reflections, guiding not just the eye, but the soul. Such eloquence in simplicity might just be the ancient secrets they whisper, etched quietly on stones by the river's edge. You step into the garden's next arena, where fine sand stretches beneath your feet like a quiet sea. Your eyes trace delicate ripples created by monks' thoughtful hands. Each line tells an unspoken story of wind, water, and the hands that shaped them. You notice how the patterns ebb and flow, much like the life unfolding around you. This serene expanse isn't just another pretty picture. Historians point out that Japanese sand gardens trace back to ancient pilgrims, tracing the desert sands of the Silk Road. Incense roots left their mark on these artistic grains, turning each ripple into echoes of journeys once undertaken. Did you ever imagine that sands here might be distant cousins of camel caravan tracks? Well, now you know. Zen aesthetics have roots in wanderlust. Your fingers itch to skim across the surface, tempted to create your own transient masterpiece. But the monks' meticulous care speaks volumes. Even the faintest mark holds meaning here. Some fringe theories suggest ancient monks used these patterns to foretell futures. Could a shift in sand ripples predict the fortunes of an entire season? Now, isn't that an oddly poetic way to foresee life's changes? Each sweep of the wooden rake etches a new line, anchoring you in the present. The monks work with practiced ease, each motion a dance of intention and simplicity. Historians still argue whether these patterns reflect the ocean's vastness or the river's flow. Maybe both. The gentle curves could mirror the rise and fall of waves, or the currents carving paths through time. An errant breeze brushes past, sending tiny grains cascading into the designs. You're mesmerized by the way even a minor gust carries life's flow into the sands. These monks understand that nothing stands still. Every ripple reminds you of transitory beauty, much like life's fleeting moments. And oh, do they know how to let each moment breathe, a soft nod to the impermanent nature of all things. You observe a particularly intricate pattern. It spirals outward like a cosmic fingerprint, so delicate, yet so purposeful. Kyoto's gardens have long been canvases for such artistry. Some say these swirling designs once served as meditation points, drawing seekers' minds inward, like celestial maps guiding inward navigation. Just fascinating, really. A gentle laugh escapes as you recall tales about competitive monks, legends claiming they challenge each other to create the most mesmerizing pattern. Imagine that. Ancient monks in silent duels of rake versus sand, each trying to outdo the other in serenity. It's a charming thought, isn't it? Rivalry so peaceful, even the grains seem to chuckle with them. As the sun dips, casting soft shadows over the sand, you understand something deeper. These patterns are more than mere designs. They're invitations. They beckon you to pause, to breathe, to remember forgotten truths found in nature's simple elegance. It's like the monks are speaking through silence, whispering secrets carried on the wind and settled here for you to find. You kneel to inspect a particularly fine line, feeling the weight of its presence. There's a quiet power here where simplicity meets profound meaning. Some legends state these monks believed spirits traveled along the rippled paths, seeking rest among the stones, spirits drawn to the balance found in these shifting designs. Whether fact or folklore, the thought roots you deeper into the moment. The monks continue their silent work, each gesture imbued with centuries of tradition. They don't need words when the sands speak so eloquently. Some experts still debate whether these patterns symbolize life cycles, ocean currents, or even the flow of the cosmos. There's something almost poetic about the open-ended meanings. Who says you can only pick one interpretation? With twilight deepening, you step away, the patterns still echoing in your mind. These sands, with their history, mystery, and quiet wisdom, leave an indelible mark. You know that even when you're long gone from here, these ripples will endure, an anchor in the flow of time, much like the stones you traced earlier. Here, in this dance of grains and shadows, you found a lingering hint of eternity. The air fills with a new scent, sweet, fleeting. You find yourself beneath the sheltering boughs of Kyoto's famous cherry trees. Their blossoms drift lazily toward you, as if time has slowed to cradle this moment in a delicate pause. The sight brings gentle nostalgia, a soft whisper from nature's heart. These petals, falling like whispered secrets, carry stories of spring's ephemeral grace. You trace a blossom's delicate journey. Historians recount how cherry trees first flourished in Japan over 1,000 years ago, cultivated from wild stock into art. They became icons of transience, each bloom a reminder that beauty thrives precisely because it's fleeting. Those fleeting petals are practically national poetry prompts, aren't they? Seems every poet looked up and felt something profound about life's impermanence. Somewhere nearby, a monk hums softly, a tune you can't quite place, but feels ancient. Maybe, you ponder, this very melody accompanied those olden blossom festivals. Fringe stories claim even ancient Shinto deities took their seats under these branches, holding court during peak bloom. Can you picture it? Divine beings sipping sake between petals, sounds like they knew how to throw a spring break party, heavenly style. Historians still argue whether Kyoto's monks first used cherry blossoms in their spiritual designs, or if they turned to stones first. Did the petals' fragility inspire rock permanence, providing stark contrast in designs. The monks' hands move to an unseen rhythm as they shift stones, perhaps even paying homage to those old debates, balance found through centuries of questions, lingering in the petals, whispers. You watch a blossom land softly on a central arrangement, its landing so gentle it barely disturbs the stones. Perhaps this moment echoes the garden's own history, a fusion of the old and the new. Remember how those sand ripple paths hinted at ancient journeys? Well, here lies the counterpoint. While sands carried distant trader steps, blossoms capture time through presence alone. Contrast carved in nature's own script. Stepping closer, you notice each stone positioned to mirror petal arrangements, somehow matching the random cascade. Nature's paradox again. Randomness guided with deliberate care. The monks, you suspect, might be channeling some kind of blossom stone meditation. Imagine that monks seeking Zen beneath drifts of falling petals almost makes you wish they'd kept notes for the rest of us. A sudden gust, a playful breath of spring scatters more petals. They create new patterns across the stones, mingling with intent designs in graceful chaos. Each new drift seems to invite discovery, inviting deeper reflection. These garden designs, part artistry, part philosophy lesson. That's the magic here. Even when petals fall unplanned, they fit into the monk's vision of grace. Look back toward where you traced those earlier sand paths. Those same monks moved between textures, from sands to stones to blossom drops. Fluid, ever-present transitions between elements, between time passing and stillness captured, almost poetic, right? They make eternity feel like a breath, petal by petal, ripple by ripple, stone upon stone. You breathe in the mingled scents of earth, bark, and fleeting blossoms. The monks continue their rhythm, silent yet profoundly vocal through their arrangements. Each stone, each petal guides you toward understanding. The olden ways, they whispered through moss and sand, now speak through this spring chorus. Time becomes a cascading melody, here heard in every breeze, in every petal's soft rustle. With twilight casting elongated shadows, the blossoms glow with a borrowed light. You realize the dance here isn't just in the arrangements, but in how they shift and soften with each new phase of nature's cycle. This very interplay between permanence in stone and the fleeting life of blossoms becomes an enduring parable of seasons' flow, of life's delicate truth. These monks have captured something larger through their simple yet profound juxtaposition. As you wander away, petals still sifting through your hair, you carry the monk's message. It clings like whisper on the wind, gentle truths in every step you take beyond the stone patterns and cherry branches. You sense that even when these blossoms dissolve into memory, the understanding they cradled will endure, because here, in this dance of petals and stones, you felt the quiet heartbeat of both transience and eternity together. Your footsteps fade along the path, leaving only the echoes of monks, unspoken wisdom behind you. Beneath the sheltering trees, among the silent stones, you glimpsed Kyoto's deeper harmony, an alchemy blending life's fleeting grace with solid, serene reflection. And somewhere in that delicate balance, you found a lingering hint of the infinite. The path curves gently to the left, where towering maple trees stand as sentinels of change. Their leaves blaze in fiery reds and intense oranges, casting a warm glow long after goldenrod hues of setting sun dip below the horizon. You feel a subtle shift. Autumn's embrace draws in. You pause beneath an ancient maple, its thick branches cradling secrets across seasons. The monk's serene presence seems to shift with the leaves' fiery display. A crisp wind rises, sending a gentle shower of leaves twirling toward the stones below. Each rustle speaks a different tongue, echoing stories of change and steady wisdom through the ages. Did you know maple trees have historically been revered in Japan? Their brilliant autumn colors symbolize not just seasonal change, but the endurance of olden trees against fleeting time. The way they flame brightly before letting go. Could it be a nod to our own lives? Somewhere between the first whispers of frost and the harvest moon, local legends suggest Japanese monks once climbed these trees to commune with hidden spirits. Fringe tales even say maple leaves contain messages from ancestors, fluttering down as both warning and blessing. Ever thought leaves might be ancient carrier pigeons? Well, here you go, the original airmail from beyond. Historians still argue whether autumnal colors played a role in the monks' original garden layouts. Did fiery foliage inspire specific stone arrangements, emphasizing impermanence? Imagine monks pondering season cycles, each leaf's fall carving lessons into their own Zen paths. They might have smiled at your modern obsession with fall decor, but appreciated the reverence for these annual cycles. A crisp breeze sends another swirl of leaves dancing downward. Here, the monks arrange stones to catch falling treasures in deliberate patterns. Each leaf, however briefly resting, becomes an integral part of the design, a borrowed grace before it joins Earth's slow decay. The monk's hands pause, as if contemplating how each leaf carries both an ending and a beginning, a bridge written in nature's hand. Backtracking for a moment, remember how those sands rippled like ancient maps underfoot. Well, leaves whispered different tales, the story of bold beginnings and graceful finishes, all in one descent. Each arrangement here captures life's dichotomy. Stable stones mirror vibrant leaves' fleeting journey. The monk's juxtaposition remains the same across elements. Balance found within nature's own ebb and flow. Beneath this maple, the air becomes a canvas of color. You observe monks arranging stones to capture moments, even of the dying ember phase. Each placement, a reminder that stillness holds just as much depth when framed against change. It's like an olden-timey version of beauty is pain, except they'd probably say, impermanence breeds wisdom. But hey, same sentiment, less dramatic flair. Every gust releases a fresh cascade of leaves, adding unexpected bursts of movement to steady placements. New patterns emerge, an alliance of chaos blending thoughtfully with design. These leaf drifts, unplanned, still honor Monk's intention. In every stone's angle and leaf's arc, nature repeats its sermon, transience, and permanence, both woven seamlessly into each other. The shadows deepen as twilight approaches. Leaf falls slow, but remains steady, each one a quiet reminder of time. The monks' deliberate movements carry on through this season of farewell, grounding their wisdom in centuries-old cycles. Their arrangements, living lessons, teaching how seasons, whispers fit seamlessly into the human experience in every leaf flutter and stone placement. Moving away, you take your own steps through shifting patterns. Leaves crunch softly underfoot, an acoustic blanket carrying Monk's silent philosophies. Under that tapestry of fiery hues and steady stones, you sense something deeply human, a harmony blending fiery, autumnal change with reflective perseverance. And somewhere within that dance, you grasp eternity's fleeting whisper, the same story told in maple leaves and old stones alike. Silence lingers like morning mist, wrapping monks and their stone arrangements in stillness. The garden feels charged with unseen energy. The monks vanish into the essence of the very stones they tenderly sculpt. Each arrangement breathes, as if absorbing not just history, but the essence of time itself. Here, you notice monks using what looks like a wooden spatula to gently tamp down sands, a ritualistic touch that makes the sand's ripples mimic Zen gardens from centuries ago. These sand patterns are ancient records, with some Japanese historians tracing them back to the 7th century. The site evokes images of those monks from Nara or Heian periods, their sandal-clad feet treading the same path centuries before. Some quirky legends claim these sand patterns could actually map distant stars, or maybe even hide secrets to immortality. If you squint just right, the sand ripples seem to outline constellations. Think of them as celestial breadcrumbs leading to wisdom beyond time. But hey, if you find a treasure map while rearranging your beach setup, let me know. Historians still argue whether these sand etchings were ever used in early Buddhist ritual practices. Imagine ancient monks tracing their fingers through the sand while meditating on cosmic energy, searching for spiritual clarity. Maybe some of their wisdom bled into the stones, anchoring teachings in each grain. Now you'll never look at your sandcastle the same way again. Too bad no golden Buddhas come with beach toys. You pause beside one arrangement to examine its meticulous balance. The monk's fingertips barely graze the surfaces, as if transferring a secret wisdom. This garden's silence becomes a living teacher, and the stones resonate with whispers carried by centuries of contemplation. It's less Zen as trend, more like a living relic, hauntingly authentic and deeply immersive. You lean closer, noticing a stone's slight tilt mirroring a ripple's peak. Each placement seems deliberate, even when stillness appears perfect. There's an almost musical cadence between the monk's gentle motions and the arrangement's evolving dance. This garden isn't just about what you see. It's about perceiving history and presence simultaneously. It's like watching someone conduct an orchestra where each note is centuries old and everyone's playing along, even if they don't quite know how. Stones rest between monks' fingertips like sleeping memories. With each careful adjustment, a meditation unfolds, not the instant chill-out vibe Instagram suggests, but a profound engagement with fleeting moments. Every stone seems to whisper the same ancient wisdom. We are here now. This will pass. It's humbling how something silent can echo with so many voices of past presences. The monk's serene expressions reveal nothing, yet their focused eyes speak volumes. Every tilt and tap seems imbued with purpose, as if arranging more than just stones. They're configuring cosmic lessons right here in Kyoto. You can't help but feel that each movement contains an intentionality beyond mere aesthetic perfection. Is that stone's slight angle a callback to medieval wisdom? Maybe a wink to the future. Perhaps that's why you stumbled into this corner of the ancient garden today. The monk's silent labor becomes your open scroll. Stone by stone, these old arrangements hold stories untold. The stillness around you stretches like infinity, a vast canvas painted in meditative strokes. You become acutely aware that you're not just a spectator, but a participant, sharing breath with monks and history alike. And in that moment, the monks fade into the essence of their creations. Their robes blend with stone, sand, and ancient whispers. Silence embraces you wholly, nothing left but the stone's meditative echo. You sit for a moment, perhaps even lean back on the worn wood bench just left of that stone lantern. Close your eyes and let the monk's silence wrap around you. Here, where time and touch converge, you too become part of the meditation's ongoing echo. Pond mirrors spread serenely, reflecting a stillness that breathes with perfect balance. You watch the monks delicately shift stones at the edge of the water, where the ripples from yesterday's rain remain as echoes of their touch. The pond's surface becomes a collaborator in this ancient dance, reflecting the monk's precision in an unbroken expanse of calm. Here, the Japanese art of pond gardening, called tsukubai, thrives. Tsukubai basins were originally designed for rinsing hands and mouths before tea ceremonies. Experts think these cleansing rituals were early inspirations for Zen rock arrangements, balance of form and function. Next time you wash your hands before dinner, give a nod to those monastic rock stars. Some fringe theories suggest pond reflections could be gateways to other worlds. Imagine gazing deep enough to see ancient spirits or olden deities peering back. Maybe the ripples here are more than just water's dance. Ever noticed how your own reflection can turn spooky in dim light. Perhaps there's something more at play. Historians still argue whether monks used these pond arrangements to meditate on impermanence or as literal maps of their inner enlightenment journey. Picture monks tracing stone patterns while contemplating life's ebbs and flows. Were they just arranging rocks or revealing life's hidden rivers? Now, every pebble tossed into a pond will make you ponder deep, cosmic layers. You stand there, mesmerized, as the monks create tiny worlds within worlds. The placement of each stone sends ripples widening across the pond, an outward journey that slows, fades, then blends into stillness once more. Your own breath seems to mirror the pond's expanding circles. Each wave, each breath, a testament to impermanence, an echo of stillness after action. It's hypnotic how the ripples evolve, as if the pond itself is part of an ancient dialogue. You remember those sand patterns from earlier, and now the stones and water collaborate to compose the same silent symphony. This garden isn't just about isolated elements. It's about harmony across mediums, each reflecting the other in a dance of elements. It's like an infinite mirror hall where each reflection tells a timeless tale. The quiet hum of water against stone becomes another verse in the monk's meditative poetry. Each arrangement is a chapter, each ripple a word, collectively narrating an olden script of balance. Here, you're a reader and a writer. Your presence in the garden becomes part of the living text. The monk's hands, almost like auteurs, orchestrate a story of cosmic alignment, a story you are invited to silently read through the pond's reflections. Your eyes scan the monks' faces, finding an echo of their work in their calm expressions. The stones they place, the ripples that follow, the stillness that returns, it's all a part of a greater story that's been written for centuries. This garden, with its stones and water, isn't just here to be seen, but to remind you of a greater cosmic cadence, a rhythm that transcends mere existence. With each ripple, the pond teaches you to let go. The outer movements slow, fade, then gently settle back into stillness, a mirror of life's transient nature, the monk's ultimate lesson. You feel the weight of this presence in your own breaths, the slow inhales and exhales matching the pond's natural rhythm. It's as if the monks, through their silent work, are conducting a vast symphony where every note vibrates with Zen. As the afternoon sun filters through maple leaves, you notice the monks have paused. Their hands linger over the arrangements, as if savoring the moment of perfect balance. The ripples slow, merging into the pond's glass-like surface, and a profound stillness settles around you, a space where even breath feels heavy with presence. Here, in the midst of Kyoto's ancient serenity, you too become part of this timeless, silent echo. You lean back against the moss-covered bench, allowing the pond's reflection to become your world. Close your eyes if you need to. Let the monk's silence, the pond's harmony, seep into you. Here, where water meets stone, where time and nature converge, You are now a part of the ongoing balance, a testament to olden wisdom made fluid, and with each fading ripple, you leave your worldly concerns behind. Stones, pond, monks, all blend seamlessly into the living meditation. The last sunlight glows through leaves, casting patterns that feel like ancient Zen calligraphy. You've become a scribe of stillness too, holding your own space as yet another chapter in this garden of eternal balance. What once was just reflection now feels like an eternal embrace. Monk's serenity rests in every crevice, a palpable presence that draws you into the folds of their peaceful arrangements. As twilight approaches, you notice that each stone is positioned to not only complement its neighbor, but also to reflect a harmony that feels like the very essence of stillness. The garden breathes in unison with the monks, a collective meditation etched in stone and shadow. Here, there's a saying in Japanese gardens: a rock with character is as unique as a person's soul. This philosophy might explain why every stone seems to whisper olden secrets. There's even a quirky belief that the garden stones were once sacred relics from a lost mountain temple. Could they be whispering forgotten incantations right now? Ever tried doing 3 things at once? Monks say the arrangement trinity, stone, water, shadow, balances as easily as your childhood tricycle. Some historians still argue whether Zen gardens use this principle to teach life's 3 acts: birth, growth, decay. Maybe it's not about the rocks at all, but a crash course in impermanence on rocky pathways. Remember those maple leaf patterns. As the monks step back, their serene expressions say it all. The day's final shift is made not with hands, but with their intent. You can almost hear the silent mantra. Each stone a pause, each pause a life. A whisper of evening breeze catches the surface of the pond, sending tiny, deliberate ripples out across the surface. The monks observe this interaction is more than just stones arranged on a surface. It's a conversation between them and the world around. You, standing on the cusp of this living tableau, are invited into this dialogue of existence. You watch as one particularly smooth stone settles into place. Historians debate whether these stones in Zen gardens symbolize mountains or islands, and yet, as you glance around, they seem to be both, a cosmos resting in microcosm. Fringe thinkers even argue that monks used these stones in olden dreamscapes, mapping their nocturnal wanderings across their garden's terrain. Maybe tonight, in dreams, you'll walk those same ethereal islands. The garden's serenity feels like a well-worn blanket, one that absorbs your worries, leaving you cocooned in collective calmness. Even the rocks, worn by centuries of touch and contemplation, seem to hold the monks' quiet wisdom. This place offers a lesson in presence, and you realize even the simplest arrangement of stones carries the depth of their meditative practice. As the sun sets, shadows stretch long and contemplative across the scene. The monks, those silent conductors, now seem like part of a greater mosaic, their movements a slow dance of balance and purpose. Each rock placement, whether in broad daylight or twilight, is a brushstroke in a painting of existence that you're momentarily allowed to dip your toes into. You've heard stories of monks finding enlightenment through such simple gestures. Experts think this practice might trace back to Buddhist tales about walking monks who carried small stones to remind them of permanence in change. Ever wondered if they could leave Zen trails in airports? Mindfulness starts at gate 17. Your breath merges with the garden's rhythm, stone, space, shadow, forming a trifecta that's both ancient and new. You lean in closer, trying to decipher this visual language of peace. Here, you see that stillness isn't just the absence of action, but an active participant in the tapestry of Zen. As the final notes of the day settle around you, the stones seem to anchor your fleeting thoughts, grounding you in the now. The fading light outlines each rock's profile, turning them into ancient sentinels, guarding the secrets of centuries. Some fringe scholars claim that monks used these rocks as meditation timers, letting each arrangement signify an hour's passage. Picture a monastic Fitbit made of grit, every stone a step toward 10,000 years of wisdom. As shadows intertwine, you notice the monks have turned toward the pond again, watching the day's final reflection set. The air feels charged with silence, the kind that hums beneath the skin. Could it be that they're meditating on what's not seen? How stillness can exist within movement. Each stone acts as a chapter, each ripple a footnote in the olden manuscript of time's fleeting embrace. Here, in the convergence of serenity and silence, you feel the monk's ethos resonate deeply within your own stillness. As the evening draws in, the garden becomes a sanctuary of balance, a reminder that stone and thought are often but different versions of the same pursuit. With each rock nestled into place, history, presence, and enigma meld into one, a piece emanating from every crevice, resting in your being too. Bamboo rustles softly around you, its whispers carrying teachings from generations past. The monks, now silhouettes in the twilight, guide your attention to the stones that stand like ancient pillars, rooted in wisdom. You catch hints of stories etched in the whispers of the wind, lessons that monks say have been passed from reed to reed. Historians might think it's just erosion, the weathered smoothness of these old stones. But fringe thinkers suggest the rocks are timekeepers of a different kind, storied relics, holding the wisdom of bygone eras. Touch them, an elder monk once said, and feel the hours they've seen. The stones here don't just lie, they anchor. As shadows stretch out beneath your feet, you imagine they're grounding the whispers that dance through bamboo leaves. Experts still argue whether Zen gardens symbolize sacred mountains or timeless oceans. But here, in this moment, they do both. In their silence, they carry eons of stories, echoing the monks' journey through each changing season. A sudden rustle, was that a fox or a stray thought? Folk tales hint monks once tested wisdom seekers with such distractions. To find clarity, one needed to anchor their spirit, no different than how monks anchor stones amidst life's whirlwinds. The trick, an old monk chuckled once, is noticing if you've been distracted more by fox or fantasy. Every stone here feels like a sentinel, watching over moments, unhurried by haste. You lean down closer. Are their surfaces really smooth? Or just old enough not to hold onto grip anymore? Historians debate if these stones reflect earthly permanence or ephemeral illusion. Yet here, as sunset colors the air, they seem to be both, anchors and dreams in solid stillness. Have you seen those miniature mountains in moss-cradled gardens? They're said to mirror landscapes old maps couldn't fully capture. And the stones, nestled between paths of green, feel like lost temples from tales told in hushed, moonlit whispers. Experts think monks used these stones to meditate, seeing in each arrangement the very breath of the universe condensed into form. Each rock placement holds intention, every crease, every shadow. Fringe beliefs claim that monks chose precise placements to harmonize with celestial constellations. Some old maps show star stones, claiming alignments that guide nocturnal dreams. If you lay down, could you trace those patterns in the stone's quiet constellations tonight? A sudden memory hits. You've always hated that term rock solid, like they're the ultimate truth. But here, solidity seems more like an embrace than a block. Stones hold secrets, the way monks say. Silence is never empty, it's just filled with what isn't said. Maybe this is their message. Find wisdom not in the loud proclamations, but in silent steadiness. You step back, bamboo whispers, and stones seem to breathe. Each lesson in stillness, you think, is actually about movement. That's the monk's way, teaching depth through simplicity. Stones stand not to oppose, but to remind, like old teachers who challenge by not saying, but existing. There's a reason why old monks favor rock-tipped wands during teachings. Some quirky lore suggests each tap is a heartbeat echo, a pulse through eras. If you had one such wand, would it tap your phone screen awake, or remind you of your own quieter pulse? Historians still argue whether Zen stones mark time's passage or nature's pulse. Here in this twilight, you see both reflected in the careful shadows. A path through ancient gardens starts in solid silence, then grows wings in the whispers just beyond reach. And now, as the sun fully dips, you understand their dance. Stones anchor, wind releases, and you listen. One last stone catches the eye, its surface kissed by centuries of moss, yet solid as conviction. In stillness, you hear, there's motion waiting. And then the monk's silent promise, lingering in each arrangement, stay rooted and let the world find rhythm through you. Life here pulses like a silent heartbeat, each stone a testament to the garden's rhythm. Beneath your feet, moss-lined paths pulse with generations of quiet footsteps, each a soft echo through time. You feel the garden's essence in the way monks, say a single breath can carry mountains if you listen closely enough. Remember how ancient gardens were sometimes built to mirror the universe itself. This one's no different. The stone arrangements aren't just decorative, they're whispers of cosmological truths. Maybe, just maybe, each rock placement tells a story of celestial orbits and earthly cycles, all converging in one meditative exhale. Historians often talk about Kyoto's gardens as nature's poetry, but fringe thinkers hint they're coded maps of forgotten star charts. Ever wondered why those mossy terraces remind you of the night sky? Even now, the stones hum with life's endless circle. Your hand grazes a weathered surface, cool and grounding. Monks might say it's the earth breathing through stone, each arrangement a nod to the ebbing and flowing tides of life. Historians still argue whether these precise placements align with lunar phases or sacred geometries. What if tonight you could trace celestial constellations through stone whispers? You stand back, letting silence settle. Around you, bamboo leaves sway, each rustle a pulse point echoing the monk's presence. It's no accident the gardens mimic the very patterns of rivers and mountains. Experts think the monks designed them to be living meditations. Those curved paths weren't just pretty shapes, they're whispers of the cosmos made walkable. Ever considered that every step you take here could be a step through time's own embrace? A sudden flicker catches your eye, a butterfly, maybe, or just a memory of movement held in still air. Every corner of this garden tells stories the monks never speak aloud, but leave etched in stones and shadows. Some legends claim the monks could read the stones like ancient texts, finding in each ripple and crack the rhythm of seasons written by nature's own hand. Could you, too, learn their language of unspoken wisdom? In a quirkier corner of history, some monks are rumored to have created wish stones, strategically placed to grant fleeting insights. A whispered wish against a mossy pebble might not sound like science, but in this sacred stillness, who's to say where intention goes? Touch the cool granite now and listen for the beat of centuries whispering through stilled breath. Feel the pulse of the universe, echoing its ancient secrets through silent arrangements. Night deepens, and shadows wrap tighter around the stones. Here in Kyoto's quiet, every breath carries the pulse of eternity. Can you feel the living rhythm of it all? Each stone a vessel of time's quiet song, each careful step a journey through a garden of endless echoes. Close your eyes, let the stone's steady pulse mirror your own, and in that stillness, know you're part of something much larger, connected through stone, air, and echoing wisdom all around. Soft moss cushions your feet, a reminder of ages. Each step whispers secrets through emerald pathways. Your path unfolds beneath ancient boughs, where sunlight leaks in mottled whispers. This is where monks tread softly, knowing every stone and petal holds the wisdom of the seasons. Remember those tales about gardens being cosmic mirrors. Here, Even the moss seems to trace constellations underfoot. Some suggest these pathways replicate the Milky Way's flow across night skies. Experts think it's pure coincidence, but you might feel a celestial pulse beneath your feet. Every turn reveals whispers of time's passage. The moss here, isn't just decorative. It's a living archive, breathing history. With each soft step, scientists even claim it filters Kyoto's centuries-old temple air. There's that curious legend, too, about stepping stones that guide monks' dreams through stardusted journeys. Who needs a telescope when your shoes could trace the lunar cycle? Lantern glow spills over stones, casting shadows that dance like fireflies trapped in amber. Each lantern's flickering flame holds 1,000 monk vigils from bygone winters, where monks meditated on the breath between moments. Historians often debate whether lanterns were once used as celestial guides, mirroring their stars in light pools. Would you dare guess which constellation glimmers in that shadow's curve? A subtle scent of cedar needles wraps around you, grounding the ethereal. Under the maple's broad canopy, sunlight filters like liquid gold, dappling moss cushions. This isn't just any path. Some whisper it's a monk's pilgrimage route, leading thoughts upward to the heavens. Scholars suggest monks practiced sky meditations here, tracing celestial maps in each careful footstep. And those quirky, almost forgotten stories speak of monks who believed the garden paths formed messages from spirits. One whispered tale recounts a hidden stone that echoes wishes to the underworld when touched. Ever wonder if that pebble by your feet holds a monk's prayer from centuries past? The sun dips lower, and the garden stills. Time echoes between stones, a pulse of nature's rhythm. You pause, letting the garden's whisper seep into your bones. Here, even shadows have stories, and each breath ties you to the garden's heartbeat. Feel the moss's cool secret beneath your feet, the stone's ancient pulse resonating through the night's embrace. A gentle night breeze stirs the lantern's flames, casting soft glows along the stone paths you tread. Evening here wears a cloak of deep purple, with lanterns as its starry jewels. Each step feels lighter, as if your feet might lift free of the earth any moment. Historians often debate whether Kyoto's monks designed the lantern pathways to guide lost spirits home. Imagine their shimmering trails beckoning you, not just through space, but through epochs as well. Under such light, centuries blur. What if tonight's path mirrors those trodden by centuries-old hands? The glow reveals more than just shadows and stones. Look closely, and you might see the lantern's shapes etched into monks' daily lives. Remember the tales about monks using fireflies as living lanterns. In ancient times, they're said to have captured these insects in delicate cages during night meditations. Some believe fireflies were considered spiritual messages, briefly escaping the earth's bounds. Now that's an eco-friendly, glow-in-the-dark tradition, right? As the wind shifts, stories of Kyoto's earliest gardens come alive around you. Lanterns weren't just decorative. Did you know records show they once signaled the start of community rice planting ceremonies? As flickering flames swayed, villagers would know when to gather under the stars, their lanterns blazing in synchronous welcome. Maybe tonight's lanterns carry an echo of those days. Your path loops near a small pond, its surface a glassy mirror for the scattered dots of lantern light. Historians still argue whether these ponds reflected actual celestial maps for night-born meditations or were meant more poetically. Some believe monks saw the surface as a way station between Earth's solidity and the sky's vast, limitless possibilities. You pause, feeling both grounded and untethered. An olden monk once wrote about gardens like living lanterns, not just showing the way, but illuminating the soul's depths. It's as if the lantern light pierces through the veils, separating moments. Each step feels like traversing layers of existence, each stone a heartbeat of time's relentless march. You might be walking the same stone a monk once balanced on, gazing at the same moon now washing the path in silver. As you venture deeper, you notice curious, tiny pebbles etched into the path. Stories suggest monks might have used these stones in a nighttime game of stone stacking whispers. The idea was that each balanced stone could carry a whisper of a prayer upward when knocked at dawn. Some say if you listen closely enough, you could hear the remnants of these old chants, still swirling in the wind's embrace. Every lantern casts not just light, but history itself, an invitation to imagine feet that walked here long before yours. Each flame dances like the living thread, pulling ancient wisdom forward. Feel the warmth, see the shadows, and maybe, just maybe, let the lantern light guide some small corner of your spirit tonight. Morning clarity rests upon each dewdrop, nature's fleeting diamonds glistening. Dew forms overnight, condensing on cool rocks and leaves, and each droplet becomes a cosmic eye. Through these tiny lenses, you glimpse the universe in miniature. Isn't that an oddly humbling thought? That your eyes and the smallest things are connected through light. Here, in Kyoto's gardens, each dewdrop holds a silent dialogue with the world above. You lean close, and a droplet's curve shows the sky's blue expanse. You've probably seen this trick in a camera lens effect or on social media posts. But here, well, here it's reality, unfiltered. Some folks might say the soul's journey is just like dew, delicate and temporal. Others laugh and call it poetic nonsense. But who cares if it works, right? Historians still debate whether these droplets formed ancient drinking sources for meditating monks. The idea is that during morning contemplation, monks might have touched their tongues to the grass to absorb this pure, untouched elixir. Picture that spiritual enlightenment and hydration achieved simultaneously. Now that's efficiency, but let's dive deeper. Each droplet is as unique as your fingerprints. Remember learning that no two snowflakes are identical. Same goes for dewdrops in these gardens, each one carrying a personal signature of night air and early light. There's a certain comfort knowing that even in sameness, life asserts a pattern. That said, no dewdrop lasts forever. Sun rises, and these fragile treasures evaporate, leaving only the faint memory of their sparkle. But the cycle continues. Walking through these gardens, you step carefully over mossy stones to avoid scattering the droplets, like avoiding the disruption of meditation itself. Experts once believed dew held moonlit magic, a vessel for forgotten prayers and whispered blessings. Ancient poems sing of dewdrops as messages from the divine, each one a droplet of grace, not too different from thinking of emails as data droplets. Minus the mysticism, of course. Here's an old oddity, a practice where monks would write secrets using night's dew, known as tsuyuzuri no yado. Monks would press their hands onto dew-laden leaves at dawn. As the dew melted, the moisture left behind ghostly symbols on their palms, each disappearing soon after as a silent, ephemeral message between man and nature. Some say it symbolizes life's impermanence, or perhaps a cosmic joke about leaving your most profound notes on a disappearing substrate. Imagine feeling the soft, cool kiss of morning dew across your skin, like the gentle brush of an old friend's hand. You move forward, letting your steps echo the past. Dewdrops and footsteps, stories told in liquid and gravel. Historians argue over whether these small collections of water helped ancient monks navigate in the fog. Picture monks squinting through mist, reading the dew lines as maps in an ever-changing landscape. A dewdrop compass to guide the soul sounds like something out of a fantasy novel, doesn't it? And what about light? How it dances, refracting through these morning beads. Each drop can act like a prism, breaking sunlight into rainbows on this small scale. In history, monks could have used these natural lenses to mark time and seasons with surprising precision. Some say their garden layouts were designed this way, with stones positioned to capture maximum morning dew for celestial navigation. No, not a sundial, but rather a dewdrop calendar. Now, that's thinking outside the sundial box. As you wander onward, notice the intricate play of dew and shadows. The gardens are alive, breathing through these tiny water lenses, each drop a reminder not just of yesterday's mist, but tomorrow's rise, a cycle you are now part of. Some philosophers argue that these droplets mirror our own lives, born of the earth, yet reaching for light. Fleeting things, but in each drop is a whole world's worth of reflection. The morning light grows stronger, pushing those dewdrops to their end. Yet, in this very change lies beauty. Just like how ancient rock gardens were once thought to embody the concept of mujo, impermanence, so as you stroll, feel the duality. The solid earth beneath and the delicate water above, each teaching its own lesson. Because sometimes, isn't that how life works? The eternal dance between what's fleeting and what remains. You come to a stop, your thoughts lingering with the dewdrops. If gardens held stories, These dewdrops are its whispers, soft, temporary, but infinitely profound. Each one a reflection, each one an echo of what was, and soon what will be. Some say that in this delicate balance, you find not just beauty, but enlightenment. And who's to argue with a dewdrop? Elements swirl in an intricate dance beneath your feet, Kyoto's ancient gardens, a canvas where earth, wind, fire, and water merge. You feel each element's silent pull, their age-worn symphony echoing through stacked stones and meandering gravel. It's like nature is an old maestro, perfectly conducting a four-act play with just pebbles and breezes. Here the elements aren't strangers, they're familiar collaborators. The garden monks say, rocks whisper, winds speak back. Did you know that water flowing through these gardens is carefully channeled using techniques older than some countries? Ancient hydrology meets Zen design talk about a masterclass in multitasking. A quirky tidbit for you experts in Japan once debated if the rock's arrangement could influence local weather. Yeah, you read that right. It's like someone asking if their new lamp can steer wind direction. Historians still argue whether these rock gardens might have subtly altered breeze paths, channeling gentle winds or diffusing storms. Gardening meets ancient meteorology. But let's bring it back to basics. The wind, for one, takes a leading role here. As you stand and close your eyes, feel it swirl around, picking up whispers between pines. Leaves create their own percussion sections, rustling against each other whenever the gusts pass through. Can you sense the harmony? That's the wind doing its thing, adding its notes to the natural orchestra. Earth provides the robust foundation. You notice solid, weathered stones that monks meticulously position over centuries. The ground beneath feels like a bedrock of stories, each layer narrating its own epoch. Ancient engineers believed stones could soak in history, not just sit in place, but carry the weight of years like a sturdy diary. Stones endure, but do you know if they ever change? Geologists can tell you about transformation, but here, the focus is on steadiness. Then there's fire in a garden where you see more green than orange flames. Here, fire manifests in subtler ways. Morning sun touches stone, heating them like hidden embers, creating pockets of warmth. Did you ever think of stones as sun-catching devices? On a chilly morning, these warmed stones serve as gentle hearths, inviting monks to sit and reflect, turning sunlight into living warmth. Remember last week's heatwave? How the stones soaked up that intensity? Well, in Kyoto, ancient architects considered this interplay of Earth's heat and sun's energy. There's a theory suggesting monks used sun-baked stones to dry special garden herbs. Talk about turning passive sunlight into an everyday tool. Some argue these stones were part of an ancient solar dehydration unit. Zen monks as alchemists with stones and sun, why not? And finally, water the artist's brush, smoothing, carving, shaping. See how it flows. The water's touch here is the hand that smooths rough edges, carrying nutrients and life with each trickle and pool. It's nature's artisan, chiseling stone into masterpieces over centuries. That meandering stream beside you, it's a silent sculptor. Its artistry witnessed by countless monks who watched water form valleys, even in stone. Historians can't agree if the streams and dew here were ancient irrigation systems disguised as art. Were these gardens pragmatic tools cloaked in beauty, secretly ensuring survival during harsh winters? Imagine the practicality behind each gentle curve and placement. Monks who mastered nature's necessities while wrapping them in serenity. You see a small frog hop across, and you smile. Life goes on, a pulse through time. Each element plays its role rock steady. Winds sing, the sun warms, and water shapes, each contributing to the eternal rhythm. You find your place in this dance, a visitor temporarily borrowing the space, while millions of interactions happen underfoot. Some scholars muse that ancient monks believed rocks could channel ancestral spirits, acting as conduits for the past. Just as rocks absorb water, they might hold whispers of the monks who placed them. It's almost poetic, isn't it? Every stone a silent scribe capturing eras, every wind a timeless messenger. You stroll, mindful now of each step, each interaction, feeling the cool of shadow, the bite of gravel, the call of wind, elements that speak without needing a voice. They've been here, dancing in sync long before you arrived, and they'll continue when you've gone. In their quiet ways, they teach you not to cling tightly, but to move naturally, in balance with what's around you. Historians argue if the garden's layout aligns with star charts, were monks guided by heavens above? Was their work as much an astrological study as a spiritual practice? Did the elements' positions reflect seasonal equinoxes or lunar cycles? Fascinating how ancient minds might see the cosmos etched in stones. Take a deep breath. Let the elements fill you briefly. Earth's solidness, fire's warmth, wind's flow, water's cleansing touch. Each interaction offers a different comfort. They've survived storms, endured droughts, embraced millennia. And here you are, part of that continuous ballet, just for a moment. The elements' dance never pauses. Your presence is a fleeting step in their grand choreography. You walk away, knowing you've been a visitor in a timeless performance where nature's forces have always played the lead. This harmony isn't just beautiful, it's enlightening, a reflection of life's ever-moving currents. It's a simple truth, you see, that nature already holds all stories, and we're just passing through. Yet, in these gardens, amid their elemental ballet, you found a rhythm of your own, if only for this moment. And isn't that enough to be in step, even briefly, with an eternal dance? Stillness finds you amid nature's persistent hum, life in perpetual motion. Each monk's adjustment of stones whispers about the impermanence etched between movements. You notice that even solid rocks aren't static. They subtly shift under shifting soil and season's sway. Stability isn't found through unyielding rigidity, but fluid adaptation. Much like those garden stones, right? Every gentle motion here is meaningful. Did you know that the famous Golden Pavilion was originally a villa belonging to Shogun Ashikaga Yoshimitsu in the 14th century, before it became a sacred landmark? It was a site of personal retreat, a private spot transformed into something timeless. But let's shift gears. Imagine a bizarre theory suggesting that garden arrangement mirrors ancient wrestling pits. Odd, right? Some speculate stones and their positions mimic martial art stances, as if monks trained in mental and physical arenas simultaneously. But historians, they can't quite agree on this one. You spot a monk, focused, his fingertips tracing pebbles. Each minor shift speaks volumes. He's teaching without words, showing that the profound can dwell in the seemingly trivial. The Zen monks here practice shigure-zukuri, a technique focusing on natural, rain-like patterns of stone. This technique, they say, captures the very rhythm of falling rain within a still frame. Can landscapes truly encapsulate moments of motion? You pause, letting the weight of his touch seep in. Here, even the smallest adjustment feels weighted. These monks move stones as gently as whispering into a tranquil pond. Each placement sends ripples that travel beyond the eye, an arrangement inconstant. Subtle flux echoes life's natural ebb and flow. Did you recall last section's theory about sun-baked stones? Today, the monk seems to embody it, his movements, deliberate, almost meditative, as if turning centuries-old practice into a ritualistic dance. Remember back in section 9, we spoke of stones as storytellers. Let's add a twist. Some monks believe that stones hold memories, not just physically, but conceptually, like a river with countless banks it's touched. Every stone carries embedded stories from previous placements. They think stones age not just through weathering, but through memory. Each past position, a layer etched within. It's a poetic take, merging the tangible with the ethereal. What about this? A debate among scholars. Is the art of Zen rock arrangement akin to calligraphy in stillness? Does it capture emotions not through brush strokes on paper, but through meticulous placement of nature's elements? Experts argue that when monks meditate among these stones, they might be reading centuries of thoughts captured not in ink, but through carefully curated silence. As these thoughts swirl, you notice tiny changes. A stone edges forward. A new line of thought begins. The monks here aren't creating static artworks, but living narratives. Each minor adjustment, a story unfolding. Historians still debate whether the gardens were designed to reflect larger celestial movements. Each stone a star in a visible galaxy. What is stillness, then, but a canvas for endless possibilities? Each shift seems to answer an unspoken riddle. You spot stones forming a pathway across what appears to be a dry riverbed. The monks here see fluidity, even in stillness. It's not about controlling nature, but becoming one with its inherent movement. There's a quirky piece of trivia here. Some believe Zen gardens inspired the later development of bonsai landscaping, while historians often dismiss this as speculative. The idea remains that even small, contained elements of nature can reflect vast ecosystems. The Zen monks have a playful mantra. Nature doesn't mind chaos, it embraces transformation. This place lives that mantra. The gentle rearrangement breathes impermanence into permanence. Every tiny movement here has cascaded into new patterns, changing, but not losing its essence. Can the act of adjustment itself be the ultimate Zen practice? Stabilizing in the flow feels like the monk's ultimate lesson. Some monks compare this practice to a moving meditation. With each gesture, stillness intertwines with motion. You recall the story of the ancient water channels. Monks harnessed natural movement for both practicality and beauty. Stability isn't found by stopping the flow, but by guiding it, understanding its dance, rock arrangements, as nature's choreography. Each placement, then, becomes a fleeting anchor in an ever-shifting world. Did you know the very concept of Zen gardens dates back to 6th century China, before developing into a significant Japanese art form several centuries later? This tradition wasn't merely meditative practice, it became a dialogue with nature, a collaboration between human intention and natural evolution. The monks might see each stone as a question, and each move an answer. Some say that garden meditation serves as a silent teacher. Those stones hold lessons in stillness, yet their placement tells 1,000 words of motion. These monks, you realize, are both artists and scientists. Their gardens are living experiments, each configuration a theory tested. Historians often wonder, is there a hidden code in the pattern of stones, a secret blueprint known only to the monks? A thought both tantalizing and mysterious. Every adjustment here feels deliberate. One stone, one story. Imagine their fingers have known these stones for decades, centuries even. Each new position could mirror changing seasons, philosophies, or simple whims born of daily dawn. That tiny shift, it could echo a larger question about nature's essence. Can these stones hold both the memory of ancient wisdom and a future still unwritten? The monks teach through transformation. Stability, as any practiced Zen master will confirm, doesn't come from rigidity, but from fluidity, a paradox mirrored in these gardens. Here, nature's essence dances between moments, each stone bearing witness. The gardens stand not as mere silence, but as a perpetual, mindful nod to life's continuous motion. You stand here, amid these fluid stories, letting the monks' teachings seep in. Every placement, every moment feels charged with unspoken poetry. Each stone carries not just the weight of time, but the promise of endless possibilities. And in this eternal ballet, you find that stability resides not in stillness, but in the art of gracefully managing change. You walk away from the monks, with the stone placements echoing in your steps. This timeless dance between stillness and motion, now part of you, a transient rhythm in a lasting melody, leaving you with the question, can every step we take be a dance with change, and yet find our center? In the gentle whispers of leaves and the persistent hum of the stones, you find a quiet peace, knowing that your passage through this garden, brief as it may be, is part of its continuum, a fleeting yet meaningful addition to a story that has unfolded for centuries. And as you turn away, the elements still converse, the stones still shift, and the balance remains beautifully maintained. As you leave, the monks continue their practice. The gardens remain in perpetual conversation, an enduring reminder that true stillness isn't the absence of motion, but an artful embrace of its beauty and wisdom. Hidden meanings linger amid the stones. Each placement whispers stories, secret conversations between the earth and its dwellers. You find yourself drawn to a particular arrangement where the silence speaks louder than any audible word. Zen gardens, you recall, trace their roots back to the Kamakura period of Japan. Did you know that's when these designs first took root, around the 13th century? But here's a quirky thought. Some fringe historians argue Zen monks encoded secret maps into their stone patterns, guiding hidden routes to ancient temples. Crazy, right? Just image ancient ninjas navigating by stone arrangements. Some think every rock might actually point toward hidden chambers, though historians still argue whether that's true. Monks once shared cryptic tales of stone spirits, beliefs that stones themselves possess subtle energies. This isn't some new age fluff. These monks believed in the tangible wisdom embedded within each rock. They would say stones gather knowledge from the world around them, storing secrets the way old friends recall shared memories. Could nature's elements truly hold stories within their crevices? Every step here seems to unveil yet another secret. You spot an arrangement resembling ancient Chinese characters lost to time. Scholars still debate whether those early monks used stones as primitive language forms, a silent script for the initiated. Some think these stones mimic constellations, aligning with cosmic energy flows lost to modern maps. Just a fringe idea, perhaps, but it's hard to dismiss when looking at the eerie alignment with celestial patterns. A gentle tap on a rock releases quiet resonance. Each placement echoes with purpose. The monks here might agree with the idea that stones aren't just inanimate matter, but vessels for deeper truths. Much like the ancient Greeks who inscribed oracles in temple walls, perhaps these monks, too, used stones as silent bearers of foresight and wisdom. Experts still ponder if these gardens served as a philosopher's map, every stone a reminder of nature's intricate dance. The whispers now feel different, almost conspiratorial. You recall an old monk's words, stones carry the voice of mountains. What if he meant their literal presence channels hidden world narratives? Imagine ancient wisdom concealed in plain sight, where every shift of a pebble opens portals to forgotten histories, not just a fanciful thought. Some believe monks safeguarded lost scrolls through stone symbols, their teachings etched in nature's tongue. Strolling among the arrangements, you notice how each placement shifts the garden's pulse. It's like discovering hidden notes in a symphony where every stone contributes to the narrative. Historians like to argue whether these patterns reflect daily life's mundane rituals or connect to broader cosmic tales. Perhaps both. Each ripple in the sand may speak to the simplicity of a morning ritual, while simultaneously echoing ancient celestial rhythms. As sunlight dances across polished rocks, the secrets deepen. Have you heard that certain placements may represent ancient divination tools? Stones align to mirror the I Ching's hexagrams, perhaps encoding answers to life's uncertainties. That quirky idea, more poetry than practicality, leaves us wondering. Are these gardens spiritual compasses, guiding seekers through layered messages written directly into nature's fabric? Every whisper and rustle now feels layered with meaning. You pause at an arrangement featuring a subtle spiral, a symbol used across cultures. Did monks understand this universal truth, embedding common symbols into quiet corners? Scholars might argue about whether these patterns intentionally align with global mythologies, or if their universalism came naturally to a culture so attuned to nature. Yet, standing here, it seems almost undeniable. The air around you hums with untold tales. Stones now feel like the pages of an ancient tome, each one ready to reveal new secrets. As you trace their placement, the monk's silent language resonates. Every rock tells a story, perhaps holding meanings beyond our grasp. In this garden, mysteries abound, waiting for those who see beyond the surface. With each breath, the silent truth of these gardens becomes clearer. Each stone holds a piece of history, a lesson from nature, its stories quietly speaking through ages. Here, monks reveal that the art of Zen lies not just in viewing these rocks, but in hearing the whispers between them. As you reflect on this, one fact stands out amidst the silence. These stones, though ancient, remain teachers in the present. A soft wind rustles the leaves, almost like a whisper from the monks themselves, their message clear in the stillness, while the stones speak truths. It's the space between that shares deeper wisdom. As you leave, these enduring silences linger in your thoughts. Nature's secret conversations carry on, preserved in the sacred space of each arrangement, bridging old worlds with present peace. Every glance here feels like a revelation, as monks continue their quiet orchestration. Each stone, placed with intent, weaves an endless tale of simplicity and profundity. True understanding unfolds in the spaces between movements, where hidden meanings reveal their truths. In this garden, you realize wisdom isn't found in the answers, but in the ongoing quest for understanding nature's own script. And as the path bends away, these silent teachers remain the garden, a lasting testament to hidden meanings. timeless whispers, and the beauty of what lies beneath the surface. The legacy of these arrangements endures, each stone a silent guardian echoing mysteries that span generations and bridge worlds. Within this tranquil space, secrets continue to unfold, inviting seekers into nature's quiet embrace, where every stone is both question and answer. Rain begins its gentle descent upon the Kyoto garden, each droplet a storyteller's touch, washing away the distractions of everyday life. You stand beneath the shelter of an ancient pine, watching as the moisture renews the land beneath your feet. Rain has been a crucial element here since early Japanese cultivation techniques around the 8th century, when farmers relied on it to balance their rice paddies. But did you know some eccentric horticulturists claim Zen monks once brewed rain-fed tea by capturing storm runoff, pure, mineral-free, and straight from nature's touch? Just think about that next time you sip from a fancy Starbucks concoction. The soft patter transforms the surroundings. Each stone now glistens like it's been polished by the elements themselves. You approach one grouping where the rainwater collects in delicate puddles around mossy rocks. Historians still argue whether these miniature water reservoirs were actually ritualistic, perhaps tiny shrines to the water deities once worshipped across Asia. They might sound a bit like the mini indoor fountains of modern wellness trends, but when viewed through monks' eyes, they represent a deeper symbiosis between stone and rain. You watch a single raindrop cascade down a tilted rock. The world around you feels suspended, where time folds into moments, almost meditative. That's what makes rain in gardens here so profound. It's not merely a cleansing cycle, but a reminder of impermanence. Every drop that refreshes the stones signifies transformation. This transient quality is what monks believe to be a living lesson among their arrangements. Experts think that each stone's interaction with elements reflects how life itself ebbs and flows, endlessly shaping, but never fixed. The air now carries a faint ozone scent, mingling with the earthy aroma from the wet ground, a sensory poetry that grounds you. This particular blend, sharp yet grounding, was perhaps how the ancients felt too. Some eccentric researchers have even proposed that Zen monks used specific rain showers to calibrate their meditative practices. Imagine syncing breaths to rain rhythms, tuning the soul's frequency to nature's own cadence. A fringe theory indeed. Yet standing here during this downpour makes you wonder, could rain's melody really connect us to deeper states of awareness? As you stroll softly, the rain's tempo increases, a persistent yet comforting thrum. You notice an arrangement where stones are strategically placed to guide water gracefully towards a shallow basin. Were these also irrigation systems for the monks' tiny gardens, ingeniously disguised under aesthetic placements? Think of those clever little home composting bins repurposed for modern green thumbs, but scaled centuries back. Historians still debate whether these placements had both spiritual meaning and practical purpose. Dual teachers in one stone. A particular rock now captures your attention, its shape almost sculptural against the glistening backdrop. The monks believed each stone was a repository of energy, a belief echoing through various spiritual practices, just as the Maya might infused stele with cosmic significance. Did the monks channel Earth's lessons through stone and storm? Could rain, acting upon them, draw out messages inscribed by time and elements? You squint at the droplets beating on the surface, as if holding secrets distilled over centuries. With the rain now easing, the sounds around you become clearer, each splat and sizzle almost musical. You recall ancient Japanese music that incorporated natural sounds. Perhaps this rain's symphony here was yet another layer of Zen education. Monks sitting, eyes closed, allowing rain-struck stones to become their guiding melodies. You might imagine their silent mantras blending with water's chorus, each drop accentuating a meditative phrase. The garden's atmosphere begins to hum with clarity, serenity soaked into everything, washing away urgency. These arrangements, in constant dialogue with rain, become a living archive of tranquility. You pause to observe a cluster where stones seem to cradle the water, forming tiny reservoirs within their nooks. They gather and release rain in slow, deliberate rhythms, a metaphor for presence itself. Just as a decluttered room calms the mind, these stone-guided waters remind us to slow down, absorb, and let go. The rain gradually becomes a fine mist, hanging like translucent veils between each rock's placement. You notice the mist's touch brings a peculiar smoothness to the stone's surfaces, almost like they've been polished by time's own hands. Were these surfaces kissed by centuries of rain, integral to the monk's teachings, showcasing the balance between solidity and softness, between strength and yield? Historians might argue whether the stone's patinas were seen as literal embodiments of nature's philosophy, but seeing their softened forms, the notion feels entirely plausible. Walking through the misty embrace, the stones beneath your feet seem to whisper. Their surfaces, wet and reflective, act as small canvases depicting the rain's gentle journey. You can almost hear a conversation between rock and water, a silent instruction etched by nature's own pen. Rain might erode mountains over millennia, but here, on these selected stones, it etches delicate patterns, temporary yet profound illustrations of resilience and renewal. As the mist lifts slightly, the entire garden emerges bathed in a clear, renewed light. The rain's cleansing has softened the boundaries, blurring the edges of each stone, yet bringing them into sharp philosophical focus. The monks believed that sometimes clarity arrives only after turmoil, much like the rain-touched stones now appearing even more vibrant. Experts say that this cyclical process of dissolving and revealing mirrors the way monks themselves seek clarity through life's storms, transforming each experience into a lesson. in the renewed atmosphere. Each stone placement speaks to you in a language only deepened by rain. You see reflections of life's impermanence, mirrored in how quickly the rainwater evaporates, how fleeting each puddle becomes. This ephemerality teaches acceptance, an enduring theme in Zen's core message. You understand why rain's rhythm would echo with ancient teachings of transience, guiding monks through both storms and still pools. In rain's delicate dance upon each stone, nature's lessons are delivered freshly, patiently, cycle after cycle. As the rain finally eases, the sun begins its descent, casting long golden rays through the ancient trees of Kyoto's gardens. The light is warm, almost nostalgic, a perfect ending to nature's cleanse. You find a stone bench, rough but comforting, and you settle there. Historians have documented that Japan's garden designs date back to the Heian period, around the 700s, evolving into meditative spaces favored by scholars and monks. But what if I told you that an obscure legend claims the layout of Kyoto's gardens was inspired by celestial maps? Crazy, right? Maybe ancient stone arrangements were more about aligning stars than Zen serenity. As twilight approaches, you notice how different stones catch the sunlight, each reacting to the angle of day's close. There's a large, flat one positioned to reflect the last hues of sun, turning pink at the edges. How poetic. The monks here, meticulous in their craft, likely used the sun's movement as a living clock. Experts think each sunset could calibrate their daily meditation rhythms, much like your modern-day circadian apps recommend matching routines to the sun. Speaking of circadian rhythms, did you know that in the 1600s, Kyoto monks devised rock gardens to teach temporal awareness? Like how kids today have bedtime stories and screens, monks once had living sundials. Historians still argue whether nighttime stone placements were part of an ancient curriculum for trainee monks. Think living classrooms where the sun dictated lessons. A particularly balanced arrangement captures your attention. 3 triangular stones radiating out like an asterisk. The way they glow is otherworldly. Experts speculate they were used to guide moonlit meditations, or perhaps star alignments. The notion might sound a bit like some fringe astronomy show, but standing here bathed in sunset's gentle touch, you can sense the pull of the cosmos. The sun dips lower, and the long shadows stretch across the garden path. It's curious, as the light changes, so do the stone stories. Perhaps the monks chose stones not just for their physical attributes, but for how they interacted with time itself. Each new sunset reshapes their narrative. Some fringe theories suggest monks even placed stones to match seasonal shifts, like time capsules frozen in geological moments. As the sky deepens to indigo, you reflect on how each stone, every angle, and every placement is a snapshot of time, a fleeting one, much like life. The very nature of these stones, with their histories etched over centuries, offers a lesson in presence. The ephemeral twilight reminds monks, and you, not to cling to moments. This transient beauty is a metaphor for life's fleetingness, a living, breathing, setting sun. A breeze picks up, rustling nearby maple leaves that look like fireworks poised to explode. The stones, now cloaked in shadows, appear softened. You ponder for a moment whether these gardens serve as more than places of quiet. Perhaps they're stages for life's impermanence, acted out through daily shifts of light. Experts say these arrangements mirror life's cycles, birthed by thought, shaped by elements, returning to soil when no longer tended. As you sit, the fading sun's glow merges with the quiet stone arrangements. Each has settled into twilight's embrace, a day's work now resting. The stone's shadows speak not just of stone, but of time itself. Historians often debate whether these carefully orchestrated sunsets had spiritual significance, maybe a ritual, an invocation, or simply an embrace of nature's end-of-day rhythm. You feel it's all somehow fitting in the garden's tender twilight. Your eyes trace the garden paths, the stones lying patiently among moss and soil. With night approaching, you see another cycle begin. Stones, which held the day's lessons, now reflect cosmic mysteries. Did monks truly find answers etched in this twilight? Between sunset's whisper and starry hush, perhaps they did. With the sun now setting, the stones cradle your thoughts, inviting another meditation as night draws closer. As the last trace of twilight dissolves into a deeper night, you feel the embrace of Kyoto's nocturnal garden. Cool air wraps around you, an inviting cloak against the day's warmth. The monks have long since returned to their quarters, leaving the stones to whisper their own secrets. You step softly among the arrangements, your footsteps muted by the evening quiet. A historical fact floats into your awareness. During the Edo-period, moonlight was considered a divine presence in garden designs. Ancient planners might have placed stones to channel this ethereal light, as we would string Christmas lights across a modern living room. Some fringe theories even argue that monks harnessed moonlight for its supposed healing properties. You suppress a grin. Imagine monks arguing about moonlight Reiki like yoga instructors, today obsessing over matte brands. Though who knows, maybe they had something there. Historians still argue whether Kyoto's night-blooming flowers were part of a coded communication system. Moonlight telegraphs, if you will, sounds a bit like Ancient Aliens meets Gardening 101. But standing here, you can almost believe in moonlit Morse code. As you linger, the stones become more than inanimate objects. They transform, holding stories soaked in centuries. You recall the triangular arrangement from dusk, how it glowed like a captured star. Under moonlight, it now emits a different energy, more contemplative, as if each stone meditates on its own. Experts believe certain stones have microclimatic effects, subtly altering the temperature around them. Maybe they absorbed today's lessons and now exude midnight wisdom. Picture them as thermal fortune cookies with messages that shift depending on celestial timings. Somewhere in the monastery, perhaps an old scroll hides an ancient monk's note. Align stones in the shape of the Great Bear for winter warmth. Ridiculous, sure, but in a world where people swear by crystal healing, thermal rocks in star shapes might not be that wild. You walk further into the garden, noticing how shadows now soften the edges of the stones. They appear less defined, almost like modern abstract art. You could swear you remember hearing that the garden was laid out using principles from olden feng shui texts, where every curve guides energy flows called kai. Whether it's science or mysticism, the cool night air feels different here. Some say ancient monks utilized these stone arrangements to even predict whether a natural barometer carved from centuries-old wisdom. Now, that would be the equivalent of the Weather Channel, but with more gravel and a whole lot less CGI. The fringe theory of weather stones aside, historians still argue whether these placements were more utilitarian. Perhaps secret hiding spots or markers for hidden springs. One wonders if monks had stone versions of you. Are here maps hidden in mossy crevices? As you draw near a particularly serene Zen arrangement, you notice a lone lantern a few steps ahead. The soft glow paints the stones in gentle hues, amplifying their stillness. You remember the ancient practice of leaving small offerings by stones during festivals. Maybe the monks saw these rocks as guardian spirits, watchful, eternal companions through the night. There's a quirky legend that spirits reside in specific garden stones, guiding the monks' spiritual journeys. Imagine stumbling over a rock therapist when you just needed some evening air, but given the silence here, you almost wouldn't mind a chatty stone spirit right now. Under the moon's watchful eye, the stones in the lantern's glow seem to hum their own lullaby. Historians often debate whether these nightly scenes served as visual meditations or a form of ancient stargazing classroom, aligning themselves to both heavenly bodies and the monks' deep contemplation. Tonight, you let the stones cradle your thoughts, letting time ebb away in their cool embrace. Mist drifts through, softening edges. Stone outlines blur, clarity shifts. You find yourself enveloped in Kyoto's fog-blanketed garden, a world both hidden and revealed. The gentle shush of fog obscures sharp lines, blending stones into dreamscapes. The damp air carries whispers of olden Kyoto, a city where even shadows carry secrets. One mainstream story here is how olden Japanese gardens used fog to emphasize certain stone arrangements, like nature's own spotlights. Some quirky traditions even suggest that monks meditated in this fog to listen to the stones. Okay, not through literal Spotify playlists, but supposedly the fog would enhance spiritual attunement. Who knew Zen monks could be such early adopters of sound bath meditation? Historians still argue whether the fog served as a natural amplifier for sound, a way to make every rustle or distant bell seem intentionally profound. Picture monks leaning into the mist, wearing ancient headphones not for playlists, but for life's subtler symphonies. As you walk further, the path curves toward an enigmatic arrangement of 5 stones. Hidden within the mist, only their outlines emerge, a puzzle teasingly half seen. You remember passing this same spot just hours ago, bathed in sunlight. Now, shrouded, it feels worlds away. Experts believe this kind of fog play adds layers of meaning to stone arrangements. Imagine the monks' morning riddles. Align the stones till sunset, then wait for the true test. Maybe fog was their built-in level-up challenge. Some legends whisper that the most adept monks could sense stone vibes through the mist, using their 6th sense like a geisha's fan, only instead of elegance, they read hidden energies. A bit too much spiritual CSI for you, perhaps. But in this mist-shrouded twilight, anything seems possible. You pause to examine a solitary boulder nearby. Despite being veiled in mist, its presence looms larger, more contemplative. Under this cloak, the stone transforms, a quiet sentinel in the night. Historical records indicate that Kyoto monks chose stones, partly based on how they morphed under different weather, a kind of atmospheric mood ring. Fringe stories even claim monks used certain fog-cloaked stones as natural lie detectors. Imagine ancient truth serums not in potions, but in pebbles. If you could read the stone, you held true intentions. Monk walks into a bar, but the bar's made of fog and ancient stones. Well, you get the idea. Still, historians debate whether these stones merely symbolized truth or truly had mystical powers. But standing here, as the mist wraps around, perhaps belief becomes less important than the feeling of stillness it brings. One particular stone catches your eye smooth, worn by centuries of weather, and hands that have touched it for just as long. Its history whispers through the mist. You recall the old practice of ritual offerings to stones during seasonal fogs, a way of showing reverence to nature's ever-changing face. There's even a quirky tale that monks would barter with stones during such foggy nights. If you help me find inner peace, I'll meditate an extra hour. Some cosmic rock negotiation table from an olden Zen comic strip. But who among us hasn't wished for a trade agreement with the universe? Historians argue whether these offerings were acts of genuine spirituality or clever ways to keep monks focused during the monotonous fog. Yet, standing here in the hush, labels feel strangely trivial. The cool mist envelops you, thoughts drifting like the gauzy veil wrapping around the stones. Each stone arrangement now feels like a riddle whispered through fog, an invitation to see beyond mere shapes and shadows, to ponder paths veiled by mist. You move slowly, senses alert to the soft murmurs, the secrets shrouded in every misty curve. A low bench appears, fog-kissed wood inviting rest. You sit, letting the night wrap you. The monks taught that sometimes clarity comes not from piercing the fog, but resting within it. They might have been meditation experts, but who knows? Maybe they were also the ancient founders of Misty Mondays. Remember the triangle of stones you saw earlier? Now, they appear almost like guardians, their true forms softened, yet more commanding within the mist's embrace. Some say the fog unveils the stone's true nature, stripping away sunlight pretensions, revealing essence. Fringe ideas float that every fog-draped garden night brought stones closer to their nirvana form, as if the mist was the universe's way of giving stones their meditative downtime. Picture monks with stone sleeping masks, drifting off to foggy dreams under moonlight. Still, historians argue whether these transformations were just optical illusions or gateways to deeper truths. Tonight, you don't need definitive answers. The cool mist wraps around you, slowing time and thought. Each breath sinks more deeply with the silence, the soft sigh of the mist as the fog continues its gentle dance. The stones shift from mere objects to anchors in this fleeting world. You can almost hear a whisper from the past, carried on the mist, a monk's wisdom, a stone's embrace. Sometimes the unseen becomes the most seen. And in this Kyoto garden, wrapped in fog and moonlight, you understand. It's not just about seeing the stones. It's about letting them and the mist reveal the spaces between. The mist continues its ethereal waltz through the time-worn paths, shifting shapes and silhouettes. Each step you take seems to absorb into the stillness, a silent conversation with the garden. It's moments like these when you realize that Kyoto's monks might have invented slow walking, a pace for souls preferring tranquility. As the night deepens, the garden reveals its hidden treasures, stone lanterns whose glows blend with the fog's luminescence. These soft lights have been guiding meditations since the earliest dawn of human restlessness. Ever notice how some olden temples had entire lantern maps carved into paths, like celestial breadcrumb trails through serenity? But not just the lanterns hold secrets. This garden's fog whispers histories. Monks claimed clouds could channel spirits. Fringe whispers still float between the stones. Call to the fog, and it'll call back like a cloud-based voicemail, but without reception bars. Historians still argue whether these beliefs were poetic metaphors or genuine encounters with something beyond. You wander deeper, where a circle of worn, moss-clad stones emerges. In moonlight, their lichen carpets twinkle faintly, nature's own luminescence. Imagine monks selecting these gems for their almost magical glow. Some legends say certain stones amplified dreams during fog nights, like a stone pill slumber party. Did they really spark prophetic visions, or were they just an ancient's ambient? The debate lingers in mistrapped silence. Another smooth, hand-sized stone catches your eye. History books note such portable stones were sometimes kept by monks as pocket tranquility, like carrying a serenity stone in your monk robe pocket. modern equivalent, a thumb drive filled with whale songs. One tale claims monks used these stones when negotiating temple disputes. Fine, but only if you accept this pebble as peace offering. Medieval rock, meet modern day. Agree to disagree, emoticon. Historians still argue whether these stones were merely symbolic or possessed actual power. But in this fog-filtered space, perhaps the answer is wrapped in the mist too. Your fingers graze the cool stone, a pulse of connection beneath its ancient surface. Each touch, a silent dialogue with centuries past. Further along the path, a larger stone commands attention. Its commanding presence breaks through the haze, a monolith against eternity. This wasn't a casual participant in arrangements. It might have been the keynote speaker in monk meditations. Historical records hint these stones served as spiritual anchors, like nature's own confessionals. Some believe monks practiced stone gazing, a kind of ancient mind relaxation technique. Picture them, eyes heavy-lidded after hours of fog watching, each blink dissolving thoughts into gentle mist. Fringe tailies whisper they could even download wisdom from the stones, one slow blink at a time. Historians scoff at such notions, though admit it adds a mysterious layer to the practice. In front of you, a stone archway arcs gracefully. Fog filters through its embrace, veiling paths ahead. You pause, a breath in sync with the mist's rhythm. The monks knew this. Clarity often emerges not from light, but the gentle embrace of shadows. Historians still debate what lay beyond these gates, a hidden shrine, perhaps, or merely a mist clearing where monks trained their fog-gazing techniques. A secret, monks-only society of cloud chasers. But under the fog spell, facts blur and mystery deepens. The archway beckons you step through, following where mist and moonlight meet. Ahead, a stone pavilion appears, draped in nature's lace. Here, air feels dense with presence, every footstep a quiet vow. This might have been the VIP lounge for monks seeking higher states of meditation. Imagine a monk whispering to a pebble, "Tell me the secret truth," in a scene straight from an olden animated series. Fringe philosophies claim the pavilion's stones served as spiritual portals, conduits between realms. Just pass through, they'd chant. A foggy night Uber to enlightenment. Historians argue whether these portals were physical spaces or simply mental escapes. But when fog swirls through this sacred place, belief feels almost irrelevant. You step inside, cool mist wraps around, dissolving edges. The space feels timeless, still echoing monks' chants. Historical records note Kyoto gardens used fog to amplify sound, turning whispers into spiritual symphonies. Can you imagine monks' foggy karaoke nights? Rocks and stars, singing hymns through mist-shrouded gardens. Foggy mountains break down in an ancient remix. Each stone speaks through the haze, a reminder that wisdom, too, can cloak itself in layers. The mist's gentle touch urges stillness, turning every thought into a wandering stone on life's path. And here in Kyoto's night, you understand fog isn't a veil to pierce, it's a space to inhabit. Now, with dawn inching closer, the night's mist begins to lift. Yet the stillness lingers, carried by every stone, every whisper of wind. You carry its quiet with you, a stone's whisper in your own pocket. Until next twilight, when the fog returns and its stories continue. Somewhere in this fog-veiled garden, monks still chant the night's lessons, their voices mingling with mist. And you too wander here, a part of Kyoto's timeless ballet of shadows and stones. Tonight's embrace will fade, but the quiet it gifts remains, etched in the spaces between. The night's lesson weaves through each stone, every crevice capturing whispers of olden wisdom as monks' chants fade into the dawn's approach. This garden, in every pebble's placement, echoes across eternity, an art form that captures life's fleeting moments in eternal stillness. You find yourself standing before an ancient stele, shrouded partially by cascading vines. Worn kanji script traces its surface, nearly engulfed by nature's embrace. This stele isn't just a monument, it's a silent speaker. Imagine monks centuries ago, gathering here after fog-laden meditations to share revelations whispered by the stones. Some stories hint that these stele readings were so profound, they inspired entire seasons worth of garden redesigns. But the true magic, the fringe theories swirling in whispers of midnight. Historians still argue whether these carvings were coded messages, perhaps maps revealing spiritual treasure. Think Da Vinci Code meets rock diplomacy. Some even proposed deciphering the stele secrets as akin to unlocking Zen's Rosetta Stone, aligning cosmos and self in every curve and chisel. Beside the stele, a circular arrangement of weathered stones. As your fingers brush their edges, the smoothness speaks of centuries of human touch. Each rock's position seems accidental, but experts think these might actually be feng shui masterworks, balancing cosmic forces. Imagine monks debating rock placements while sipping night-infused jasmine tea. I know, let's slide this pebble over a millimeter. It'll align with Venus transit next olden moon. Intricate connections between stones. Think of an olden world mobile app connecting the metaphysical dots. Historians still argue whether these Zen layouts were mere garden decor or intricate astrological maps hidden in plain sight. Did those old monks have starlight-fueled tinder for cosmic alignments? Further along, the stones give way to a gently sloping pond, surface still as liquid glass. As dawn's first breath stirs the water, ghostly ripples disturb perfect reflections, a dance of stones beneath. Did monks once hold competitions, tossing pebbles to create ripple symphonies across these sacred pools? My stone patterns got twice as many concentric circles as yours. And if you've heard of Japan's famous raked sand gardens, these pond designs mirror them in fluidity. Some scholars postulate the patterns once served as secret meditation maps, guiding monks through inner realms using outer ripples. Follow the ripples 3 paces eastward. You'll find truth at the water's bend. Historians still debate whether these were literal maps for spiritual journeys or poetic metaphors of endless cycles. But history holds odder secrets. Some legends claim these ponds once mirrored entire temples, reflecting structures that no longer stand, ghostly temples visible only in dawn's reflection, vanishing with sunrise like a trick of mirrors in some olden world funhouse designed for divine mischief. Perhaps monks tested their spiritual attunement. Only see a temple by dawn's first light. You're halfway to Zen master level. At the pond's edge, the last twilights dew still clings like delicate necklaces. Monks say each drop holds a cosmos. If you gaze long enough, worlds unfold. Experts think these drops symbolized life's impermanence, each one's existence temporary, but profoundly complete in its own right. Fringe tailies suggest monks could drink from these drops and imbibe the wisdom of entire lifetimes, 1 sip per cosmic lesson. The sky begins to soften, shifting from deep ink to muted blues. Your steps trace paths worn into the earth by generations, and the stones become your silent companions, each placement a whispered secret from the past. Under this dawn's gentle gaze, the garden stands as a living testament, echoing Kyoto's endless meditation. Each stone here has witnessed centuries, their silent stories carried through fog and dew. Historians still argue whether these arrangements serve as frozen moments or living memories, but as the mist lifts, you recognize these stones echo through time, speaking quiet truths as dawn rises. A legacy carved in rock, waiting for the world to listen. The sun fully awakens, its warmth spilling across each polished rock. As your fingers trace their edges, you feel the grooves from centuries of contemplation. These stones aren't just static sentinels, they carry with them whispers of samurai past, merchants, and pilgrims seeking solace. Did you know Kyoto's gardens date back to the Heian period? Yep, we're talking ancient olden times, when courtiers wore kimonos with such wide sleeves they could conceal entire scrolls of poetry. Ah, the perks of poetic panache in peacetime. But let's dive deeper, perhaps into why some monks allegedly balanced stones not just for beauty, but to appease spirits. This isn't just feng shui fluff. Some legends claim the perfect balance could summon the elusive garden kami, spirits mischievous enough to rearrange pebbles for giggles. Imagine waking to a rearranged rock tableau, monks scratching their heads, whispering, "Did we misplace that stone? Or did a kami play tricks overnight?" Historians still argue whether Zen rock arrangements represent cosmic islands or hidden prayers for Japan's shoguns. A rock here, a pebble there. Were they asking for rain to break long droughts or blessings for shogunate battles? Picture monks in hushed whispers, their gardens a silent diplomacy with the divine. One more river rock over here. Heaven will surely notice our plight, As you continue, your eyes catch on a particularly weathered stone. It's etched and worn, bearing signs of 1,000 dawns and twilights. Did monks believe these weathered stones held concentrated wisdom? Just imagine every nick and groove from generations of monks. Touches, unlocking deeper philosophical layers. Fringe theories suggest touching these stones might even transfer ancient wisdom directly to the monk's spirit. No wonder they call touch a healing modality now, right? A breeze stirs the trees, and you pause at the bamboo grove next. Did you know bamboo was called the spiritual backbone of Kyoto? Its hollowness symbolizes openness to the divine. Some fringe researchers claim monks tapped specific bamboo sections to send spiritual signals through gardens. Like ancient Morse code, but with rustling whispers. Perhaps they'd say, 3 taps for rain blessings, 7 for shogun victories. How poetically practical. Green, leaf-laden email before email was even a concept, and in that vein, historians still argue whether these gardens served as spiritual training grounds. Think monk boot camp with rocks, not push-ups. Every placement, a meditational milestone. Picture novice monks with furrowed brows, moving 1 stone centimeter by centimeter, arguing whether it should face Sirius or Venus. But if I angle it toward Pleiades, wouldn't that enhance the harmony with southern willows? You find yourself near the meditation hall, where olden tatami mats still await monks' daily dawn routines. Here, stones symbolize mountains in miniature, a concept so integral monks could name rocks like ancient Greek philosophers. Oh, there's Aristotle, says a monk, patting a boulder. The notion that each stone held a soul was so entrenched. Even rock gardens had funeral rites when their designs became obsolete. Yep, historians can't decide whether they held elaborate rock ceremonies or symbolic farewells to retired rock masters. But hey, it's ancient Zen funerals with pebbles. Who's to say what closure looked like? Your fingertips glide over a sequence of flat stones, the smoothness underfoot, a reminder of centuries of human touch. Monks believed the act of moving stones would help them find both inner balance and understanding of larger cosmic forces. Imagine a monk pondering, aligning these stones with the solstice moon's reflection. Now that's the path to enlightenment. And yes, there's a running debate. Did every garden's final rock placement mark a spiritual achievement akin to graduation day? The stones speak, their quietude a teacher far older than any human mentor. As your footsteps echo on gravel pathways, the entire garden feels like a conversation, frozen in earth and rock, waiting for each visitor to become another part of its eternal dialogue. Each placement, deliberate and timeless, holds lessons for those willing to listen closely, while historians continue their lively debates. Each rock's shadow shifts with the morning sun, reminding us that, like stones, we too endure through change, carrying with us our own silent histories. Beneath the sky's endless expanse, you finally understand these stones, etched in time, hold the very essence of Kyoto's garden teachings. Quiet, steadfast, and always whispering through their shadows and sunlight. Legends say some gardens remained unchanged for centuries, while others evolved with every monk's new insight. As you take a final step back and breathe in their serenity, one thought crystallizes. Monks left these stones as anchors for future contemplation, whispers of wisdom through ages, anchored firmly in time's flowing tide. The sun fully awakens, its warmth spilling across each polished rock. As your fingers trace their edges, you feel the grooves from centuries of contemplation. These stones aren't just static sentinels, they carry with them whispers of samurai past, merchants, and pilgrims seeking solace. Did you know Kyoto's gardens date back to the Heian period? Yep, we're talking ancient olden times, when courtiers wore kimonos with such wide sleeves they could conceal entire scrolls of poetry. Ah, the perks of poetic panache in peacetime. But let's dive deeper, perhaps into why some monks allegedly balanced stones not just for beauty, but to appease spirits. This isn't just feng shui fluff. Some legends claim the perfect balance could summon the elusive garden kami, spirits mischievous enough to rearrange pebbles for giggles. Imagine waking to a rearranged rock tableau, monks scratching their heads, whispering, "Did we misplace that stone? Or did a kami play tricks overnight?" Historians still argue whether Zen rock arrangements represent cosmic islands or hidden prayers for Japan's shoguns. A rock here, a pebble there. Were they asking for rain to break long droughts or blessings for shogunate battles? Picture monks in hushed whispers, their gardens a silent diplomacy with the divine. One more river rock over here. Heaven will surely notice our plight. As you continue, your eyes catch on a particularly weathered stone. It's etched and worn, bearing signs of 1,000 dawns and twilights. Did monks believe these weathered stones held concentrated wisdom? Just imagine every nick and groove from generations of monks, touches unlocking deeper philosophical layers. Fringe theories suggest touching these stones might even transfer ancient wisdom directly to the monk's spirit. No wonder they call touch a healing modality now, right? A breeze stirs the trees, and you pause at the bamboo grove next. Did you know bamboo was called the spiritual backbone of Kyoto? Its hollowness symbolizes openness to the divine. Some fringe researchers claim monks tapped specific bamboo sections to send spiritual signals through gardens, like ancient Morse code, but with rustling whispers. Perhaps they'd say, 3 taps for rain blessings, 7 for shogun victories. How poetically practical. Green, leaf-laden email before email was even a concept. And in that vein, historians still argue whether these gardens served as spiritual training grounds. Think monk boot camp with rocks, not push-ups. Every placement, a meditational milestone. Picture novice monks with furrowed brows, moving one stone centimeter by centimeter, arguing whether it should face Sirius or Venus. But if I angle it toward Pleiades, wouldn't that enhance the harmony with southern willows? You find yourself near the meditation hall, where olden tatami mats still await monks' daily dawn routines. Here, stones symbolize mountains in miniature, a concept so integral monks could name rocks like ancient Greek philosophers. "Oh, there's Aristotle," says a monk, patting a boulder. The notion that each stone held a soul was so entrenched. Even rock gardens had funeral rites when their designs became obsolete. Yep, historians can't decide whether they held elaborate rock ceremonies or symbolic farewells to retired rock masters. But hey, it's ancient Zen funerals with pebbles. Who's to say what closure looked like? Your fingertips glide over a sequence of flat stones, the smoothness underfoot a reminder of centuries of human touch. Monks believed the act of moving stones would help them find both inner balance and understanding of larger cosmic forces. Imagine a monk pondering, aligning these stones with the solstice moon's reflection. Now that's the path to enlightenment. And yes, there's a running debate. Did every garden's final rock placement mark a spiritual achievement akin to graduation day? The stones speak, their quietude a teacher far older than any human mentor. As your footsteps echo on gravel pathways, the entire garden feels like a conversation, frozen in earth and rock, waiting for each visitor to become another part of its eternal dialogue. Each placement, deliberate and timeless, holds lessons for those willing to listen closely, while historians continue their lively debates. Each rock's shadow shifts with the morning sun, reminding us that, like stones, we too endure through change, carrying with us our own silent histories. Beneath the sky's endless expanse, you finally understand these stones, etched in time, hold the very essence of Kyoto's garden teachings, quiet, steadfast, and always whispering through their shadows and sunlight. Legends say some gardens remained unchanged for centuries, while others evolved with every monk's new insight. As you take a final step back and breathe in their serenity, one thought crystallizes. Monks left these stones as anchors for future contemplation. Whispers of wisdom through ages, anchored firmly in time's flowing tide. Let these thoughts carry you as you drift into a state of serene rest. The moon will cast its light across tranquil rocks. Monks' shadows will continue their silent dance, and all will remain in harmonious balance. Find your own stillness tonight. Within the embrace of this ancient wisdom, feel the gentle caress of Kyoto's essence cradling you, as the garden breathes in rhythm with your own peaceful slumber. Drift now, with the certainty that you, too, are part of this eternal flow, carried within time's quiet river towards restful dreams.